26, 2023 Neighborhood Board number 34 is called to order. Welcome to our Makakilo Kapolei Honokai Hale Neighborhood Community Forum. My name is Anthony Makakilo and I serve as your board chair. We are holding a hybrid with people in person at Kapolei Hale conference rooms A and B and online via WebEx. And decorum. If you wish to speak, please raise your virtual hand if you're online or your in-person hand and up here. Please introduce yourself for the record and address your comments to the chair. Our neighborhood board assistant is Thank you, Melissa, for being with us. Speakers have 3 minutes to may take. Oh, let me switch microphones. Testing, test. Oh, much better. Okay. So those presentations tonight have up to 10 minutes. All of the materials that has been circulated to the board members is available on our neighborhood Google Drive, so you can find the board packet there. Please remember to silence any electronic devices in person and online. And if you're online, please mute yourself unless you're actually called upon to speak. This is our community forum, and please engage with the spirit of aloha. Feel free to debate on any item and treat each other with respect, especially when you're passionately advocating for your opinion and position. Let's honor each other by keeping to the allotted times for speaking and collectively finish our forum in a timely manner. Okay. One procedural announcement. Since the last board meeting, I have been informed by our Neighborhood Board Commission that the committee chairs that we've previously elected and the members that we've previously named to those committees still stand, so we do not need to re-elect them nor name them to the committees. However, if people wish to join those committees, just get a hold of me and then we can take the appropriate procedural mechanisms to get you on the committee. So you can still volunteer. And the people that were previously named are still on the hook for doing the work. Okay, are there any questions at this time? Seeing none, I'll ask our neighborhood board assistant to do the roll call.
Member Bosler.
Here.
Thank you. Member Dudley, not here at the moment. Member England. Thank you. Member Ferreira, not here at the moment. Member Hale.
Here, present.
Thank you. Member Lidstone, not here at the moment. Member Medeiros. Here. Member Ta'ala.
Yo.
Thank you. And Chair Paris. Chair, you have 6 members present, quorum established.
Thank you very much. Now let's get rolling with our city reports, starting with Honolulu Fire Department. Come on down.
Good evening, board members and the community. I'm Captain Ching with the Makakilo Fire Station, representing the Kapolei, East Kapolei, Makakilo stations. So statistics for July or last month, we had 3 structure fires, 10 wildland brush fires, 7 nuisance fires, 0 cooking fires, 22 activated fire alarms. Medical, we had 181, 0 motor vehicle collisions with pedestrians, 4 motor vehicle collisions, 0 mountain rescues, 1 ocean rescue, 1 hazmat incident. Fire safety tip, understanding how you'll be alerted during urgent emergencies and knowing where to find accurate official information is a key part of being prepared. Learn more at honolulu.gov/dem/stay-informed. Alert methods are opt-in alerts. These notify individuals who have signed up to receive alert via text, email, or app push notifications based on user preferences. Alerts are not sent based on location. Number 1, systems include H&L Alert and official government social media. 2, sign up at hnolalert.gov to receive notifications. 3, alerts may be shared by official city, state, and trusted partner accounts. We also have public alert and warning systems. These systems deliver urgent, life-saving information during immediate threats to public safety. In Hawaii, this includes number 1, the Emergency Alert System, EAS. Number 2, the Wireless Emergency Alerts, WEA. And 3, outdoor warning sirens. Depending on the emergency, 1 or more of these systems may be activated. Any questions?
Mahalo for the report. Are there any questions for Honolulu Fire Department from board member in person or online? Any questions for the fire department from the community at large? Seeing none, thank you very much for your great service, and we continue on.
Thank you.
Okay, let's invite Honolulu Police Department.
Hi, good evening, Corporal Corey Makino, District 8 Community Policing Team. Sergeant Fumi Moroka is attending the Meet the Chief event right now in Waianae. The statistics for the month of July in the Kapolei area, motor vehicle thefts, we had 22 in the district. Kapolei had 13. Burglaries was 11. Kapolei we had 4. Thefts was 109. The Kapolei area was 54. Unauthorized entry to motor vehicles. The district had 20. Kapolei had 8. Citations issued: speeding 98. Moving violations 1,110. Moving violations 518. Total citations issued was 2,112. Total calls for service for our district was 8,758. Total calls in the Kapolei area was 3,008. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Mahalo for the report. Any questions, comments, or concerns from board members for HPD? Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community at large? Starting in person, come on down. Okay, while Auntie is walking over, anybody online? Okay, we're just waiting for Auntie.
Sorry,
No worries.
okay. I have a question for the police department on things that have been happening. And since I've been on the board, not on the board, but since I've been attending and the meeting and trying to get involved with the community, is when board member Sheila Medowas, was my understanding that she tried to get, excuse me, the Red Susan prosecuted during a meeting that we were attending here. And during the election period for using the state seal, and that's with on her drive with Aloha banner. I brought it up about Aloha banner, that it's in Waipahu. I seen it over there, and other candidates are using it, and it's for a good purpose with the police. I don't know why this would be a problem. Sorry, there's a gnat attacking me. But I think it's very important that we look into these situations because it's a good purpose to work with the police. And you heard all my stuff. I'm not going to go through everything I said before, but our in-court CUDA, that's the case that was thrown out, that I was just following up with everything going on, that the election conference was that we can use. But I want to know, what can the community do to fight this? Because we shouldn't have problems like this. When it's something good, I think we should try to make sure something happens. And is there anything that the police can tell us for advice what we can do?
As far as those types of issues, I guess right now the police, the department, I know we gotta remain unbiased to all parties involved and whatnot. As far as political issues, yeah, for us, I know it's against our conduct to get involved into political issues. I see what you're saying, that yeah, it is for a good cause, and I agree with the message being across. I guess that's something that we can bring up with our command to see what we can and cannot do at this point. But I'll bring up the issue with the command and see what kind of opinions they have.
I want to know also, can we file something when, we went to the police and did a false report when we were investigating all this stuff, taking time? I think some things that need to be done is we need to keep peace here and only bring up facts for safety, roads, what can help us with the community, facts with what we're talking about, the landfill, and things that really mean something to help it safe with the roads. The roads are a big problem. How to work with the police department, how to work with the people that are emergencies, the Makakilo completion. We need to do stuff like that and stay on the track. When I first came, we're having a big issue and we didn't get to hear some things that happened. And I thought, I'd like to hear what the representative or the city council members have to say. And I think that's what our meetings are for, people that live here that are affected by the traffic and thing. And I just want to know, how can we improve it and make it better for all of us? You know, I feel this is election interference with some stuff that should have never happened. We never had problems in 50 years that I can remember where people are fighting over signs. You know, they always put signs, except in Polyhua Community Center Association. We have rules there, but they put signs and they never had fights like what we have. And I think I'd like to see this stop and go to more positive things. Thank you.
Okay, any further questions for HPD? Hearing none. Thank you so much for raising the concerns, community member, and thanks HPD for checking out what you guys can and cannot do regarding signage, particularly political candidate signs and banners with Drive with Aloha. Okay. Yep, go right ahead, board member Sheila Medeiros.
Thank you, Jackie. I sense the passion and I appreciate your concern for the community's safety. And I agree. I agree the sign is fine. Like I said, the last meeting, Drive with Aloha sign is perfectly fine. Where it was is perfectly fine. It was the name, the official name, and the face on the banner that wasn't needed. Now, mind you, I responded after the Ethics Advisory Committee gave their ruling. That was already in the public environment. It was already reported, and then I followed up. So it wasn't me initiating it. I just followed up. But I thank you because, yeah, maybe we do need a Drive with Aloha sign. But that's it, because it doesn't, a name and a face doesn't enhance the message. And that was the concern with the Ethics Commission. So thank you. And yes, we will probably look into it. I appreciate it.
Okay, now let's invite up Board of Water Supply this evening. We have recognizing that this evening we should have a program administrator that will be available to answer questions that we've asked over the last couple of board meetings. So the presentation may go longer than usual.
Aloha Board, Chair, members, and guests. Nikki with Board of Water Supply. I'm going to make my part really quick so I can hand it over to our program admin, Barry. First, there were no water main breaks in the Makakilo, Kapolei, Honokai, Hale area in July. And as I brought up last month, we are going to be having our Imagine a Day Without Water event next month, September 26th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're back on the west side at the Arc of Safety in Waianae Mall. So we'll have 20 and 25 city, state, community organizations, interactive exhibits, displays, rainbow workshops, hands-on activities, prize giveaways, and really just going to focus in on the value of water and the impacts of climate change today and in the future. If there are no questions generally, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our Water Resources Program Administrator, Barry Usagawa, and he's going to answer some questions you folks had. Barry?
Sorry, just one question for Nikki.
Yes.
Nikki, would you please send that information for the Day Without Water and any signage you create to me so I can put it on our social media pages and also we can help you publicize that?
Oh, yeah, is that Dr. Amy?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I sent it to Chair and Melissa, but I will email it directly to you.
Okay, yeah, the materials is available in the Google Drive, so it's in the board packet, so it will be there. But before you pass the baton, can you also for future meetings, whenever there's water supply construction in our community, would you mind just lighting it for us in our neighborhood so that people are aware? Because I did, for example, I did get a communication dated August 12th from Manager-in-Chief Ernest Lau that says that the East Kapolei 215R1 3.0 MG reservoir job 25048. So they're going to do some work just north of Farrington Highway and Kualaka'i Parkway in order to help with some, as the letter says, to improve the water service for the non-potable side, so for the purple pipe. So the work there shouldn't be affecting potable water. So stuff like this, sometimes we don't get the letters in time for me to read them, but you might know. It would be super helpful because it's dated August 17th that they're supposed to be starting the work. So if you guys have seen them out there, the crews are working, they're working on the non-potable purple pipes.
Yeah, absolutely, Chair. Noted. I'll make sure to bring those up.
Thank you.
Okay, Barry, officially passing to you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for those questions, and apologize I couldn't be there in person, but all right. So I don't know how you want to do this. I'll just go through the my list and you know, as I don't know, Chair, if you want me to pause after each issue for questions or go through the whole thing. I'm not sure, but up to you.
I think pausing after each question should be helpful so everybody stays on one topic.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. I can anyway. So the first series of questions is around water availability for the new infrastructure in Ava, and it's a secondary urban center, a designated growth area. Ava is as you know, is all master planned with relatively new water infrastructure. You know, I think from the 1990s they started. I remember when I came in the 80s, it was all, you know, mostly just sugarcane, except for Campbell Industrial Park and Eva Village and Eva Beach. So new infrastructure. Our challenge is, and we keep expanding, and one of them is that recycled water reservoir. That's one of our projects. But while the infrastructure is new and growth is you know, I think it's one of the fastest growing regions on the island. Source is water supply is our biggest challenge at this point, largely because of radio, because of it in 2021. The fuel spill forced us to close one of our largest sources, which is the Halava Shaft, which is a 10 million gallon source, and it affected. You know, it basically serves Honolulu. What we had to do to compensate is to turn some of the sources in Waipio that typically go into the Ewa Waianae system, Waipau Ewa Waianae system. We had to turn that towards town, and that it reduced the amount of water supply in Waipau Ewa Waianae. And so while there's no building moratorium right now, and what a building moratorium is, we get to a point where we don't have a supply, and we stop approving all building permits for new construction. Replacement we would, but not new. We're not there. But for the large developments in like East Kapolei, transit-oriented development, right? That whole area around the Mauka side of Kualakai, big development, right? All vacant. We cannot confirm water availability for the entire TOD area until the new sources are constructed, and we have several that are. in development at this point. But we do allocate water, the remaining amount of supply, just like in Honolulu, and this applies for Honolulu too. All Aloha Stadium, Iwalei, Kaka'ako, going, along the rail basically to East Kapolei and Laulani. We allocate water on a first come, first served basis. When they come in with submit building permits, and there was a question of how DPP does that. They submit or send all the building permits that have plumbing systems to Board of Water for review and approval. And then we review them as well as construction plans for new development. We allocate water at that point when they're ready to build. So we don't do advanced commitments of water. It's right when the building permits are approved and they pay our water system facilities charges, which is the impact fee. The new sources that we're working on right now is the Kalaeloa desalination, seawater desalination plant. And that's at the end of, that's in Cabo Industrial Park on the east end, next to the big drainage canal there. My project is still in the design is almost complete, but it's pending archaeological preservation plans and approvals from the State Department of Health. But we're ready to start. We hope to start this fall if we can get those approvals. It is a 2.5 or 2.55 million gallon source, and it would be directly serving Cabo Industrial Park and Kapolei Business Park. And what happens there is when we turn that on, it's probably going to take to the end of 2028. We'll be able to then redirect the water, the groundwater wells that are serving the Cabo Industrial Park and Kapolei Business Parks to other areas in Elva and to Waianae. So we should be in better shape there. The second big source is the Elva Shaft, which is we're drilling 5 wells. We are drilling well 1 of 5 right now. And then we have a well station up in Kunia, up by the Waihole Ditch, Kunia Wells 4. So those are the sources that are in development, but it's going to take a while because of permitting delays and also infrastructure costs have more than doubled. So there's challenges on our side, but Eva is subject to climate change and significant droughts. Leeward to Oahu, rainfall is very variable. So we just went through. This is a very wet year. We went through the Kona lows and Hurricane Lala recently, but last year was a very dry year. So it is a very heavy drought. So we challenged on the water supply during the drought, which puts more emphasis on water conservation. So in Ewa, we have the largest recycled water system in the Honolulu water recycling facility and distribution system. We irrigate all the golf courses in the area and schools and large landscape areas. We hope to flush toilets with it in the future. We're looking at expanding the plant there, but we have our capacity is 12 million gallons per day. We're only producing like 7. So what's going to happen when this East Kapolei reservoir is built, and that's located right on the west side of Kualakai, right below the freeway. It's going to take a couple of years to build that. We have to put in a 16-inch pipe along Kualakai to connect it. But once it's there, we'll have gravity flow of recycled water, so then you can use water at any time you want. Right now, you can only have water when we turn the pumps on, which is at 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. for the city of Kapolei. So we irrigate all the landscaping in the city of Kapolei is irrigated with recycled water, and that conserves potable water, right? So, but we have plans to expand that as the demand goes up, and it will go up once we put up the reservoir. I think that's as far as water availability, Chair. That's all I have to say. open up for questions, and then I can go to the other topics.
Awesome. That was super helpful. Get a picture of where we are at with water availability and the process. Okay. Any questions from the board at this time? Let's go to board member Kara England.
Thank you for the presentation, but I do have a question. It's really about the cost. It's just so that everybody knows that when for the desalinization plant, you know that it's going to increase our rates possibly, or some kind of surcharge. I know the Board of Water Supply just increased our rate last year. So can you answer the question, or maybe make a comment about for that desalinization plant, or what it cost the consumers that uses that water? I'm just curious.
Yeah, thanks. So good question. Thank you very much. I'm gonna one good thing for me when I can share a rate schedule. So can you folks see this? Let's see, kind of small, but
Yes.
And so I'll just talk about rates and then the grants that we're getting from the desal plant. But this is the water rates. It's July 2026. So we in this column here. For residential, we have single-family residential. We have a tiered rate structure. So basically, the more you use, the higher the rate becomes. Right? We have an essential needs tier for the first 2,000 gallons. That's at the lowest rate, $4.92 per thousand. And a family of two, can easily use 2,000. I think I use like 3,000. Me and my wife. But as you get, as you use more, then the cost goes up. So the average water use is about 9,000 gallons per month. And they get charged $7.50 times. So the way that is, if you use 9,000, so it's 9 times $7.50, right? So 50 something bucks is the rate. Multifamily has the same kind of tier. Non-residential, there's a question about rates for schools and daycare centers. The non-residential rate is a flat rate, so it is $7.54. That applies to the industry, all this non-residential development. We don't have much ag in EVA. But we do have it's subsidized for agriculture to promote sustainable agriculture and local produce. We have though so a recycled water and a non-potable rate. So Coalina pays this rate as of July, $4.15 for irrigation of the resorts. Their potable or their drinking water is really the $7.54 non-residential rate, but they have a dual water system. And that's one thing that EVA has the most of. We have 2 pipes in the ground for Ho'opili, for EVA Gentry, Wakale, city of Kapolei Village. They all have their own non-potable irrigation system, and that decreases the amount of potable water that they use. R1 is $2.80. It's subsidized. You're going to promote more. Golf courses and ag is 93 cents. So that's sort of the rate schedule. It is tied with the sewer rates too, and they also have this essential needs tier, and that was just adopted recently as well. But desalination in particular, we have a number of federal grants and loans that offset the capital costs. So we have 25 million from this American Rescue Plan Act. We have 20 million from the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. We have a EPA WIFIA loan of 100 million that we're just about ready to close. So all of the capital costs is going to be, from federal dollars, and that reduces the amount of rate burden off of our customers. Yeah. We did that specifically to try to keep the the rates, affordable, and the essential needs tiers allows you to do that. The other thing that allows you to reduce your rates is our water sensible water conservation rebate program. So you folks may have known that, but if you go to like Home Depot or Lowe's, they have rebates for toilets and washing machines, and we're just starting one for dishwashers. Rain barrels is the other, but if you go to our website, Water Sensible at borderwatersupply.com, look at Water Sensible program. We try to, and then this is something that also environmental services, the sewer guys are helping us pay for the indoor fixtures to rebate that, because if you use less water in your home, you pay less in your water and sewer bill because you use less potable water, but you flush toilet less. Yeah. Less water into the drain. So that benefits that. So that's how we're trying to address the affordability. But thank you for your question.
Any questions from the board members? Okay. Dr. Amy Bosler.
A few years ago, we had a presentation from the current manager, chief engineer, Ernest Lau, and he had mentioned Red Hill and talked briefly about the military eventually paying for this disaster. And since you brought it up and how the spill is impacting our Leeward Coast communities as well as the town, I'm just wondering if there's been any forward progress with determining the cost that this is creating for us as a state, and if there's any movement in getting some reparations so we can hopefully slow our water costs increase. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that question. I'm not involved in it. Sort of like kind of in a we did file a lawsuit for a fair amount, a large amount actually. That is still in process, and that's about all I can say about that. But it is for that very purpose you brought up, because it is costing us and our ratepayers and our community, right? Contaminated water that's not in our system, by the way, right? It's just in their system, but we draw water from the same aquifer, right? And so we have to put in treatment and find replacement wells, which, we also are pursuing, in the Waimalu area, and that's costing us. And so we would like some compensation for that. Our board of directors are adamant about, yeah, we need to do that. But that's still, being litigated.
Board member Sheila Maderas.
Thank you for your presentation. Actually, thank you for your clarity, because it wasn't clear back in August when I presented the questions. And I am grateful that there is options to our aquifer, that they are looking, or you guys are developing the desalination, because we do live on an island. Just my concern, and I'm glad that it's actually your concern as well, regarding the growth of Second City, and just being mindful of, can we support the development that is being approved? And that's my concern, because like you said, we have drought seasons, and recently we had conservation to conserve water. So like we have that corner lot, that NSW lot for 900 units. And other places, every open space they're looking to build. And our concern is that, can our infrastructure sustain the growth? So I thank you so much. I think I'm okay for now, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for
Any
sharing.
questions at this time from the community at large? I see a board member, Dr. Keone Dudley, online. Let's go to him, and then if there's any questions from the community at large in person, just come on down.
Okay. when you were talking earlier, it seemed that you said that we're almost at a point where we're going to have to stop development. I and Sheila seems to be saying, no, we're not at that point at all. I personally, I hate to see desalinization come in because, you know, we've got to stop building sometime. And, you know, we've reached that point already, in my view. You know, we're just getting, we're losing our identity because of all the people coming in. Is there, in my view, is there any hope that we're going to get to a point where we're going to have to stop development because of lack of water?
You know, our charge is to ensure that, and thank you for your question, Doctor. I haven't seen you for a long time. When we're doing the Evo plan, and I'll get to that later. But yeah, you know, our charge is to ensure that there's sufficient water to support the, you know, the people of Oahu, right? So affordable housing, economic development, but also sustainability, and, you know, not detrimentally impacting our natural resources. Yeah, so it's a delicate balance. I work on that, you know, daily. The concept of conservation and new technologies, you know, helps us meet that. It's the timing of it at this point, because, you know, we are working on those new sources that would provide that water to support the master plan developments that were already approved by land use and stuff. We just don't have it online yet. And so it's just in this interim period, although it may take, you know, like, you know, the better part of almost, I'm guessing at 10 years before we get, well, it's gonna be like 3 years for the desalination, 5 years maybe for the Evo shaft wells. Once you get those online, we should, and have those replacement wells for our lava shaft or treatment there. You know, we'll have that. But we certainly don't want to, we have an eye towards climate change. You're right there. We are trying to understand the climate impacts. And at some point, you know, we will be able to share our One Water climate adaptation plan with the community, which is the other thing I'm working on. Climate impacts like drought, wildfire, sea level rise, flooding, which is what we had recently, and being resilient to hurricanes. But yeah, it is a delicate balance. There are trade-offs, but we don't do that at the detriment of our natural resources. Yeah, so we will not overpump, and we will not approve if we don't have the capacity to provide water, because otherwise you can create water shortages for everybody else. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I ask
Let's
another
go for
question?
Dr. Dudley for a follow-up question. Go right ahead.
Okay. You know, the United Nations is saying that by 2050, 1/3 of the people in the world won't have sufficient water or clean water to drink. I think there's a real worry that we're going to allow overdevelopment here, and that the climate change is going to suddenly cause us not to have any more rain, and we're going to wind up with more people here than we have water for. And I just want to pass that on, that, you know, it scares the hell out of me. I think we just have got to stop. People have got to stop having babies, and we've got to, you know, to stop doing the things that are going to destroy the world. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dudley, for that follow-up. Let's go to community members live and in person at Kapolei. Hale, go right ahead.
Jackie's on. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to bring up about the problem, what I see with the ag land, which is very sad, is going, all the good land. I lived here for several years, 50 years, and we're giving away all of our good land where we should be like the other islands. Look at what's happening now in Molokai, Maui, you know, Hawaii. the cattle on the Big Island. They don't even have water because of what happened with them, the source. And I lived all my life on a farm. If you don't have food, that's going to affect all of us. If you have problems with lettuce and all the outbreaks that are happening with the farmers, you got to support the farmers. You got to get people back to really go back to the main of taking care of the people, raising crops, supporting them, not taken away from them the lands that have been several generations. You got to be more open to see what we really need. What can we grow that's safe? But we got to stop building schools. There's no schools for the kids. Why should the kids have to go rotate different days? They should build the buildings better, and they should stop building all the streets and everything and get our highways safe and quit spending money on, I'm sorry to say, the bicycles is really a pain with me that we're spending out 1.5 for just to have bicycles to make an agreement on when the West is getting ignored. We need to have farmers, encourage them, or do whatever we can do to try to get us to be not reliable on the mainland. Molokai, I can tell you, I have friends live there. They are growing their own what they can, but they have like 2 or 3 times they got their life savings is they're depend on gas. Sometimes things don't get delivered over there. I know what happened. I've been over there. I helped them with different things that they had, build houses and that. They're good people, but they need help from Maui, and we all need to work together as a team and try to help make things happen to grow what we need to do. Thank you.
Mahalo. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from the community, given the current report of the Board of Water Supply? Go right ahead.
Thank you, Board of Water Supply, for your report today. I am encouraged that we're looking for new sources of water, especially the desalination, and I'm not sure what those other things were in Eva Beach, but probably great too. But I also want to just remind everybody that the number of people who are coming here and who are congregating is not going down, whether you build houses for them or not. We are going to have a larger population next year and the year after that. And so having a basic resource like water is something we all need to focus on. And, you know, I know a lot of people disagree that we should be building houses for people to live in, but we need them. There are homeless people everywhere in this town, all around us every day. And so I know my kids want to have kids, and I'm glad for that. So yeah, thank you for what you're doing, and I hope to see more projects like this.
So I think we can go to the next part of the presentation and continue on.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And if I could respond a little bit on that, because
Sure.
we are updating the Evo Watershed Management Plan. So Dr. Dole, I apologize for the delay, but we had to add, climate change, and we're updating the population projections. I appreciate, the previous comment. As we look at the population on Oahu, it is increasing, but it is slowed very, very much. You may not know that, you may not see it, you're not going to see that in Alva, right? Because everyone's directed growth, right? But in other areas like Waianae, like Kolapoko, the population has been decreasing. And everyone's been getting really more efficient at how much water you use. Largely, I think, because of our conservation program, but also because there's an economic benefit, right? You use less, you pay less. So your water and sewer bills, the rates went up, people are using less. So we're actually using about the same amount that we, actually less than what we used in 1990. 157 back in 1990. And now we're using 135 million gallons per day island-wide. And that just goes to show that, the conservation ethic of the community, education helps, but the rebate programs and the fixtures and the recycled water development. And we'll show, more of that when we get to updating that. So that was the other point, Chair, the Evo Watershed Management Plan. We paused it because we we need to adjust climate change. We have to we're going to reprocure that and start that, you know, this fiscal year is when I'm starting that. The other questions was on data centers. Big questions on that, you know, what's happening there, how much water they're using. As far as I could tell, in terms of data centers, just from Google, you know, a mid-sized data center can use something like 300,000 gallons per day. The large data centers, 1 million gallons per day. As comparison, 1 million can serve 2,500 homes. But you're not going to see those large data centers here, largely because they're very power intensive, and power, as you know, is very expensive on Oahu. It's all imported oil. Of course, we have our HPAR. So unlikely that they will have. There are some data centers. The largest is DR Fortress, located in the airport, but they're off the airport master meter, the water meter, so I don't have what they use. The other one that I found was the Endeavor Data Center for like First Hawaiian Bank on Middle Street. 14,000 gallons per day. That's not a whole lot. Campbell Industrial Park, some of the industries use more than that. So, you know, they're smaller ones here. But I understand the concern. I share that, you know, but hopefully we won't see those really large ones like, you know, on the mainland over here. There's a question on risk of contaminations from the chill water air conditioning systems. And, you know, large buildings like the one you're in is at the Kapolei Hale, right? Has chill water AC. They use water to pump the cold water around the building, and then the fans blow and make the room cold, right? Risk of contamination. You know, plumbing codes prevent that contamination. There are field lines that have backflow preventers and air gaps. But, you know, when you, by mistake, if you interconnect or cross connect a chill water AC pipeline with a potable line, then, you know, you're going to get contamination, right? That's where the building inspectors come in. That's where the folks that maintain the chill water ACs come in. And I think I covered all of the questions, Chair. Any questions on those? Or any follow-ups on the previous stuff?
Mahalo for the second half of the presentation on the follow-up that we've asked from previous meetings. Any follow-up questions from board members? Any follow-up questions from the community at large? Come on down.
Hi, my name is Leticia Hernandez. I am a Village of Kapolei resident. I had a question. Earlier, you had mentioned the non-potable water, and you had specifically mentioned, I believe it was Eva by Gentry. And the question that I have is, if you could elaborate a little bit more on that, only because we potentially may find ourselves having to deal with the Villages of Kapolei non-potable water system being transferred over to the association in the exit of HHFDC in, I believe it is the year 2030. So we're roughly about 4 years out. And I'm not sure if that's part of what is getting transferred over. I do know that in the research that I have conducted, there is a contract between Board of Water Supply and HHFDC for a certain rate amount for the non-potable water. But yeah, if you could just elaborate, because I want to make sure that the awareness that I'm bringing up aligns with what is actually happening. And what I've researched is that Eva Gentry does own the infrastructure. However, they do not own the water supply. So in the event that pipes break or what have you, it's the association, their responsibility to actually fix it. And that's at the cost to the homeowners. So if you could just elaborate on that a little, that would be great. Greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah. So what I know about the Eva Gentry development is that you're correct. They put in brackish irrigation lines for the common areas. Not all of them, but, you know, a lot of them. They have shallow cap rock wells, brackish wells throughout their development. And it's a private system, they irrigate, and then, so that uses less potable water and it stretches, the potable supply for, other uses. Done by Gentry, they folded that into the, into the AOAO and rules. Kapolei Village is a state development. They didn't, to my knowledge. So there is a non-potable system for Kapolei Village. It serves the two schools, Kapolei High School and the middle school, and like I said, an elementary. And then the the landscape areas in the spine roads, I forget the name of it, but and that is maintained by HHFDC. They've been trying to transfer it to us. They have brackish wells. In fact, the brackish wells there are better than the ones that have a Gentry. They have been in discussion to connect to the recycled water system. So once we have that reservoir up there, we could probably do that. We have the pipes are already connected, but closed. The valves are closed. We just have to, come to an agreement on that. But it's only, our Kuleana ends at the water meter. The actual irrigation system is the maintenance of that is between HHFDC and the community association. And I don't know where that is. You would have to refer that question to them. But the use of non-potable is beneficial to the research and to users because the cost is lower, although you have to maintain an aging system. And that was put in the late 90s, I believe, early 2000s. So it's aging and it needs to be replaced and repaired. And so anyway, that's all I know about it. But thanks for that question.
Mahalo. Any other questions from the community at large? Okay, so there is a theme of questions that I've received since Director Ernie Lau came and shared with us regarding the Kakukaki Red Hill and Halawa shaft shutdown situation, that he indicated that there was a potential for asking for an additional 30% voluntary conservation from the community at large. So what that has brought up in the thoughts of many people in our community as we've looked at the burgeoning development on this side is what happens when people don't volunteer and then it becomes mandatory. So can you share with us what the protocols you have for mandatory water conservation, and particularly as it affects residential and non-residential users?
Thanks for the question, Chair. And that's why you did share. Yes, the hottest ones. So we have a couple plans called what I call the water shortage plan, and that's on our website. And water shortages could be caused by a number of things. One could be contamination, and you lose the source. For us old guys, you may remember in the 80s, we found pesticides in our wells in Mililani, Waipahu, and Kunia, and we had declared a building moratorium back in the day, and that lasted for 5 years until we got treatment in. So that's one way. The other way is when in extreme droughts, long-term, multiple years, when groundwater levels go so low that if we start continuing to pump, we start pumping, it starts to, it becomes more brackish. When heads go down, when lens thins, we don't want that, because if we overpump it, we could lose the source, right? So that triggers, actions like you say, mandatory. And the other one is when we run out of capacity and like we kind of we never run out, but we close. So when our pump run times run, we got all the pumps running 20 hours a day, and only get 24 hours in a day, right? So in the summer months, when it's super hot and you get no rainfall and whatever, but when the pumps that we have pump 20 hours a day, it triggers an alert water shortage condition. When they pump 22 hours, it becomes a critical water shortage condition. Because obviously, if we get to 24, we're going to run out. You know, we'll try to fill reservoirs and the thing will fill, it just drains, right? And then there's going to be pockets of water shortage through the system. So in order to prevent that, a couple of things. One, we need to really get into the new sources and repair the ones that are broken. We had a few pumps there that are broken, right? So we got to repair that. But in terms of now water conservation, in the water shortage plan, you'll see a progressive actions that we would then initiate. So the first step is voluntary conservation. We tell people, okay, 10%, usually 30 is when it starts to get, worse, but we start at 10, and we want to bring the demand down. And we want new developments to put in 2 pipes. We use recycled water for irrigation, so that we're talking about basically shortage in the potable water system, right? If that doesn't work, then we get into this mandatory declaration, and we have to have certain triggers. So 3 or more in critical condition, either pumps, run times, or head levels, water levels. Then it's allotments. Residentials, instead of using 400 gallons per day, it goes down to 300. And then there's enforcement that ties to that. So that's just an example. There's all these, and then if there are bad actors that don't give a rip, right? They're just using water, they're wasting water, right? We can increase their water rates to 20 times the water rate. So at $8 per thousand, right, times 20, that's what they're going to be paying. It ramps up, right? Progressive. They still don't do that, we can shut their meter off. And they come in and they reroute the pipe, and they turn the meter back on. It's a misdemeanor. We call HPD. They arrest them. So it ramps up. Our portfolio of actions and reactions to ensure conservation it's serious at that point. I've never seen it where we got that far, but we have that in our rules and regs, and so we would then implement them. Mandatory conservation requires a lot of enforcement. That takes a lot of additional people, which we don't, we kind of don't have the staffing resources, but that is in the plan. So if you go to borderwatersupply.com and you look for the water shortage plan, we lay it out in there, all the different strategies and actions and triggers that we monitor, especially during the summer months. So.
Mahalo. Thank you so much. So I think the one last question to leave you with, and if you have answers ready to go, please let us know. Otherwise, please reach out to Melissa or myself. But the question is, seeing where we are at with water conservation, the issues we're facing, what are the policy low-hanging fruits that the Board of Water Supply would really appreciate if the community gets on board to support? You shared, for example, asking new developments to put in the non-potable lines for them. Are you guys looking at catchment systems? Are you looking at redesigning storm drainage areas so that they're recharging? So like, what are the things that BWS is contemplating that is something that we should be potentially getting behind?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And again, very, very, very intuitive. Non-potable. It's not a recommendation. It is a requirement. You like on potable meter from you hook up to the recycled water. If I gotta make up simple, in Pidgin, that's what I tell them. And so when they come in with these master plans, we condition these large developments to do that. For whole Pili, for example, and that took up some real prime ag, and which now the ag is moving up Kunia and into Whitmore, and we're trying to build infrastructure for those guys. But anyway, I mean Whitmore, but they were required to put in dual water systems. we put in the spine, the backbone, the pipeline up Honokai. And once we do that, it connects to West Wall Campus and Ho'opili, and then they'll be able to irrigate with recycled water, right? That's mandatory. That was like negotiated back when we approved the master plan. In terms of stormwater capture and you know, that's green infrastructure. That's something that we definitely are as a city to it, Department of Facility Maintenance, our One Water program. Once, you know, if they can create a stormwater fee, that would, there's this pent up demand to do stormwater green infrastructure throughout the island, you know. Rain barrels, we rebate that, rain gardens to retain whatever, you know, rainfall that falls on your property, to keep it on your property and not let it run off, because runoff means polluted runoff control, right? It goes to the beach, right? It pollutes the streams. So keep it on your property. There's strategies around that. And with the stormwater fee, they're talking about this incentive to reduce your impermeable you know, surfaces, right? Roofs and driveways, but, you know, kind of, you know, let the water move into some green grass side, yeah, before you reach the street. It just doesn't rain that much in Elva, so rain barrels don't really that, you know, it makes more sense like in the Manoa windward where you get more rain to fill it up. Elva is, no can fill them up, but if it's full up, you can use them, right? Where I live in Kaneohe, it fills up. I cannot drain them because it is, you know, it rains plenty. So there's sweet spots for that. But green infrastructure is definitely a future. So if you're interested in that, when those bills come up and when those high policy, big policy issues come through the board, support on those ends would really help the resource education of the community as well. You know, and the incentives, and we kind of balance the incentives with requirements, right? Carrot and stick kind of thing. It's never only stick, and it cannot just only be incentive. It's a trade, it's a balance of that. So that's how we approach it. But thank you for the question.
Mahalo, thank you so much. And no thoughts you want to leave with us before we go on?
I will be back when we pick up the watershed plan. I appreciate your folks' interest and what great questions. So keep them coming, and then I'll come back. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, mahalo, thank you so much. Okay, next up is Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, but as you all know, the office of OER is no longer with us really, and Deputy Zeisman has been reshuffled within the city administration. So right now we're looking for the mayor to assign a new representative to us. In the meantime, there is a memo that the office of the mayor sent out that you can find responses to that you can read in the Google Drive. I will do some highlights that I think are notable for the community, particularly regarding the smells that were coming up from the Farrington Highway area by Kapolei Knolls and Lower Makakilo area by the quarry. In short, the mayor's office got back and DPP did clarify that in Grace Pacific zoning application number 2011 variance 28, they did approve the existing quarry to exceed height limit and increase nonconformity. And this means also that they issued a conditional use permit number 2007 CUP 91 for the production of hot mix asphalt plant at Makakilo Quarry. So they're making hot mix asphalt. And I believe the recent change was that they're allowing it to run 24/7. So that was not the case before. So they used to do hot mixes, but usually when people were at work, when nobody was around. Now, when you're cooking and you know, trying to go sleep, so it is likely coming from there, and they've been authorized and zoned to do that with the special use permit according to DPP. Okay. And there's lots of other good information. But since we had a really robust discussion from the Board of Water Supply, let's move on to the Hawaii Department of Transportation. Okay, that was a great and quick report from HDOT. Now let's go to OHA. Another great and quick report. Now let's go to OMPO, Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization, with our board liaison, Uncle Frank Canario.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the August meeting of the Citizen Advisory Committee was canceled, and there was nothing of interest to West Oahu in the July meeting of the Policy Board. Something that is of interest to the area is the statement from OMPO's Regional Transportation Plan to, quote, enhance the transportation network to increase active and public transportation and expand and extend the existing rail system, end quote. City Bill 60 empowered the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation, HART, to study and plan for potential Skyline rail extensions, both east and west of the current plan. This was prepared by a minority-supported Permitted Interaction Group, or PIG as they call it. Minority or not, the study is an indicator of future rail plans. A Honolulu Civil Beat 21 July article titled The Future of Honolulu Rail Report Details Pricey Possibilities reported that the PIG primarily looked at completion of the locally preferred alternative approved by the Honolulu City Council but left unfunded. The study shows extensions to Ala Moana Center, Waikiki, the University of Hawaii Manoa campus, West Kapolei, and Salt Lake, with different modes of transit covered. Analysis of the service provided via elevated guideway reveals 15 new guideway miles that could be developed with new funding of $13 billion. My message to the editor of the Honolulu Star-Advertiser to publish a similar article went unanswered, and no article was printed, leaving one with the impression that our only daily print media, a newspaper with a continuous flow of Skyline advertisements, does not want to educate local residents about the impending cost of rail and the likelihood of at least a 30-year extension to its surcharge on the general excise and use tax. I support the expansion of Skyline, but rather than throw good money after bad, it should be done using 21st century magnetic levitation, or maglev technology. Maglev would not only be operational superior to steel wheels on steel rails, but also would be much more cost-effective to develop and to operate and maintain. American-invented maglev would be best, but its proponents have been unable so far to gain startup funding. Meanwhile, development of a city-to-city extension to an existing urban maglev in Changsha, China is underway. With sufficient distance between stations, it will reach speeds of 100 miles per hour, and the program cost for the 24.5 mile first phase is only $1.45 billion. Are our materials and labor costs that much higher than China's, or are we determined to waste Hawaii and federal taxpayers' money on inferior technology? Mahalo.
Well, Uncle Frank, for continuing to be our advocate there and dreaming for, better solutions and better scenarios and use of our resources. Okay, any questions for Uncle Frank from the board or community at large? Okay, hearing none. Now we're on to the presentations for this evening. We have two, and we're starting it off with the presentation on Kapolei City Lights 2026. Aloha, Velina.
Aloha. Sorry about that.
for this. Is that okay? Okay, so aloha. I am very excited. My name is Arlene Lardizabal. I'm from the Department of Parks and Recreation. I'm presenting to the board for support of our Kapolei City Lights event this year. Opening night is scheduled for Saturday, November 28th. So it is Thanksgiving weekend, but Saturday, November 28th. We are going to start the event at 5 o'clock with a block party. It will be in front of the Hale. We will have vendors. On the left side of the fire lane, we'll have our holiday tree. We'll also have just across, as we move across the street onto Ala Kahabai, we're going to have our kupuna seating area that we implemented last year, thanks to your suggestions. And I believe the community also mentioned that. So we will have our kupuna seating area there, and as well as more craft and food vendors. And as we get to Alohikea, we will have our static car display that we did last year. Provides more lights, more displays for people to see, a safer walking area. And then as we go on to Kama'aha Avenue, we'll have more food and craft vendors. And let's see, then we get to our parade route. So we will have a parade also at 5:30, starting from Kapolei High School. We'll be staging on Fort Barrett Road from Roosevelt up to the Parkway. So that means road closure about 2 o'clock. And then parade will start at 5:30. It will go from Kapolei High School along the Parkway. We will be diverting traffic for Mihana residents so that they can get in and out as traffic allows. Breaks in the parade. And then it will basically end at Kama'aha. But we'll continue the parade route so vehicles and people can disembark and vehicles can get road ready. So that way vehicles continue onto Kamokila and walkers can walk along Kealakapu, sneak through the state parking lot and then back to the area to enjoy. We did get approval for that, by the way. Okay. Let's see, so we will have street sweepers that will sweep the parade route, and we will reopen the roads as parade passes. So that will not be a complete road closure until, and we hope to reopen by 7:30. Okay, so we will have street sweepers also once the block party ends at 9. And inside the Hale, we will have our decorated trees. So we invite the board to participate in that again this year. So if you could vote on it, we'd appreciate it. And we'd love for you to have that center spot again. Okay. But you did great. Okay, so let me get back to it. So we'll have the indoor trees. So last year we did a little lights in the indoor courtyard. We hope to have more. So we'll be doing that also. And opening night, we will have photos with Santa. So we are also having community groups participate in the activities in the inside courtyard too. So that's great. If you are a community organization that would like to participate, let us know. And if you miss the event opening night, we will have the Hale available Monday through Thursday from 7:30 to 8 p.m., 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays, Sundays, Christmas, and New Year's Day until 10 to 10. We are also offering parking at Kapolei Regional Park, because I think that came up in our discussion last year. So we will offer parking there. Do you have any questions?
Mahalo for the presentation, and let's go to questions starting with the holiday committee members. Let's go with Kara England, followed by Dr. Amy Bosler.
It was really, really fun last year. We got to walk and in the parade, and that was like our first year, I do believe, and we really enjoyed ourselves. However, that little tree section for us, is there any way that you can allow people to come up and take a look at our tree? I'm going to have to say this to everybody. Dr. Amy Bosler handmade like 90% of the ornaments, literally. And it was fabulous, but nobody got to see it because we didn't know that you were going to block that area off. So that was the only thing that we were kind of sad about, because they were hand made.
Yes, and the decorations actually went all the way around the stairway.
Yeah.
So she had decorations all
Yeah,
along
we
the way.
wrapped it, we made,
Yes.
my friend and I sat for 2 days making the lace to wrap, everything was handmade. But then we saw it that was blocked off, we went, oh, I mean, you should have seen it.
Yes.
It was just really cute stuff, but nobody got to really enjoy it. So we're wondering if we could move our tree or open it up,
We'll look into it. I do know that during building hours, people could walk up there. I think just opening night, it was more of a.
voting.
Yes.
And so we had like 3 stars.
You had a lot more than 3, so I counted them all.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, if on opening night, no one's allowed up there, can we bring it? Oh, I'm sorry. Could we bring it down and so that way because we'll probably make again, right, hand, or we're gonna buy? We haven't decided yet, depending on your theme, but yeah.
I'll go over theme right now. So we usually complement Honolulu City Lights. So Honolulu City Lights theme this year is Christmas in the Country. They wanted to kind of pay respects to all of the countryside that was affected by the Konalo. We are going with Paniolo Nights and Holiday Lights because we wanted to bring to light the ranches that also suffered on this side. And as well as the ranches that no longer exist, that used to exist when I was growing up. So we want to make sure that we can kind of bring that to light, bring to light the Paniolo, the ranches, that lifestyle, everything that goes into that. So that's our theme this year, Paniolo Nights and Holiday Lights. Okay, so we'll be in touch because I'll give you option, but I'll see if we can open up that staircase on opening night. I know that it was more of a safety issue, but we will check on that.
Because that's the night that gets voted, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we're doing voting again this year, so make sure you come and vote because they're vying for like the most popular, most beautiful tree. And just keep in mind last year, in case you didn't know, she was very, very pregnant, very pregnant. So yes, please do it this year. Please vote on it.
Just for the record, I did not make all of the ornaments, but I did organize. So we had local groups, we had school groups, we had homeschool groups, we had kapuna, we had people from the botanical gardens, and our tree was 100% sustainable. Everything came from the land. We didn't buy things at all. So everything came from the land. All of our ornaments, and we were really proud of our tree and very sad because we were hoping to, we were going with the mission of the Hokulea, and we really wanted the community to be inspired to make their own ornaments and to look in their own backyards at how can I use these natural resources in my holiday decoration. So we were disappointed that the community didn't get to see those details, but we do want to keep everyone safe and understand that those steps are treacherous, especially when you're 41 weeks pregnant. So.
Yes.
One question though about the parking. I know there's going to be parking at Kapolei Regional Park, but I will be honest, for the past 4 years, I've been one of the curbers. A lot of community members have been illegally parking in those undeveloped areas. They hop over the curb and line them up. Well, now last year and now this year, those areas have been developed. So I'm very concerned about where people will park for the lights parade, because I will argue with anyone on the island. Ours is the best.
Yes, it is. It is.
Better than Haleiwa. And I in the past we had shuttle services. So will there be shuttle services if people park in, I think it was Walmart, and then we had a shuttle that got people down? Maybe not.
Not that I'm aware of, but I'll look
Okay.
into it.
possibly because parking is becoming a major issue, and I want our community to be able to continue to enjoy this. And I mean, even my family last year, it took us almost an hour to find a spot. So we almost missed the start of the parade. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We'll look into more parking options for sure.
Okay. Go right ahead, Board Member Sheila Maderas.
As a member, a non-member of the holiday committee, I just want to commend them. They did an excellent job and it was beautiful. So, so there was just one issue I noticed last time is people being picked up at across from Kamakana. There was a shuttle. No, I thought there was. Well, then that's where it should be, because there was, that's where it should be, because I'm getting it confused with the Prince Cohio probably. Yeah, so follow the Prince Cohio.
I agree, just in reverse.
Yes, yeah,
And come here.
yeah.
I think we were looking into that, so maybe in the future, that's something that we'll do.
Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community at large regarding Kapolei City lights, the Paniolo
Honeymoon nights.
lights
holiday
and
lights.
holiday lights? Oh, that's a good zinger.
Okay, wait, before I forget, we are accepting
Good
applications
question.
for vendors, applications for vendors and parade participants sometime in September, so check our website when that's out, as well as our social media will let people know. Public outreach will be done in October to let all the businesses and residents in the area know, and we will begin setting up in October as well as November. Okay, so.
Okay, come on down.
Good evening, my name is Mike, I'm from Kapolei. My question is the Kapolei parade be first or the Honolulu one will be first? And another question is, I'm part of a private organization, the Knights of Columbus, that's under the Catholic diocese. We participate with 4th of July and veterans. So I was wondering if there was a fee that if we decide to join the Christmas parade, how much would it cost? That way I can give the message to the Knights of Columbus and see if the Hawaii Supreme Knights will approve it.
Okay, so there is no fee at all to be a participant in the parade or to be a vendor. So it's great opportunity for local businesses to participate in our block party. It's also a great opportunity for our local community groups to participate in our parade. So just watch for the opening of the applications because we will take only a certain amount, just so otherwise we're not doing parade until 10 o'clock at night. So we do encourage all members of the community to apply for sure. And then the other question you had, Honolulu City Lights will be on Saturday, December 5th. So it will be after. Yes. Yes, yes. So we will be first. So go big, Kapolei, come on.
Thank you for that. I mean, because I feel like, oh, we do the 4th of July and veterans, and I'm like, yeah, how come we don't do the Christmas? I never brought it up to the council, but I will and see. Like I said, we'd have to go to the Supreme, and we always try to support the community. It's not only the Catholic diocese, but we reach out to the community. Special Olympics. This past weekend, we fed over 200 meals for the participants and volunteers, and we do this out of volunteering. We fundraising through the church. Every church, not every church, but most of the churches have their own council. And like the St. Jude right here, we'll do scholarships for kids who go into college. We pick a female and male, and we give them $500 scholarship as long as they fill out their procedures. And we also support the seminaries that's become a priest. So it's true God's blessing. Just enjoy it. I've been with it since 2012. Thank you.
Okay. Mahalo, thank you for being engaged community members. Any other questions for Kapolei City Lights? Go right ahead.
Sorry, one more question. Santa is always such a huge hit with this parade, and I mean, people wait hours to see the big guy. Is there a chance that we might have photos with Santa this year or next year?
We will have photos with Santa in here
Okay.
from 5 o'clock, not,
During the parade.
we will have it during the parade.
Oh, it's past bedtime.
Yeah, it's past bedtime, so then we're good. Yes,
This
Santa will
was-
be in both the parade as well as in the Hale.
Another something I was thinking of, some of the other communities that I've been a part of, Santa gives a small gift to the children that come to visit. I was wondering, does Santa give a gift to the kids at Kapolei? Okay. And if you need support in finding extra gifts, can you let us know so we can start going to local businesses to help support you in our outreach, just to make sure we have.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, thank you.
Anybody else wants to be a Santa's helper, an elf, or
Would love to.
Mrs. Claus? Rudolph. Okay, thank you so much for giving us the update for the Kapolei City Lights 2026. At this time, the chair does recommend that we take a vote in order to support the city parade. Is there one willing to make the motion? Dr. Amy Bosler, seconded by Kara England. Is there anyone wishing to publicly testify about why we should or should not have the Kapolei City Lights parade? Come on down. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Okay, hearing no public discussion or testimony. Anybody from the board wishing to discuss further? Seeing nobody coming to the mic in person or online. Okay, chair goes and calls it. Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, chair calls it unanimous. Congratulations, we got our support. Okay. Okay, now the next presentation of the evening is Hawaii Youth Prevention Initiative, and we will be welcoming Zachary Kaluuya. Come on down. Aloha and Velina.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Zachary Kaluuya, and I work for the National Guard Counter Drug Program of Hawaii, and I support the agency HIDA, which stands for High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area. So the whole purpose of HIDA is to increase collaboration with local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies. However, there's a prevention component that me and my team work for, which our goal is to decrease and delay alcohol, tobacco, and other drug use among youth by working with community stakeholders. So there is a science prevention, and I know most of us grew up with scare tactics or drug fact sheets. However, as communities are evolving, so does our approach to prevention. So there is a science to flourishing. Sorry, next slide, please. There is a science to flourishing. So if we want health or healthier communities, we must promote health. All we're doing is focusing on the negative. That's all we're going to get back in return. And we leave no room for positive growth. But there is good in our communities that are happening, and we can use that to grow. So there is a science about flourishing and spreading positive community norms. So next slide, please. So if all we're doing is saying stuff like, all youth are using marijuana, then youth are going to follow that misconception and that negative behavior. But if we flip that script and we say, well, most youth are not smoking marijuana and they're making healthy choices, then they're more, they'll follow more of that positive behavior. So already today, we can start flipping that script. Instead of saying what's wrong with our youth, what is helping most youth succeed or youth listen, we can say, how can we make sure youth feel heard and understood? So I'm going to talk this 3-tier strategy. So we presented this to Department of Education and Department of Health. and they support this, and we're working in collaboration with them to get it not approved, done this school year. So tier 1 is all about building community support. So we're doing these community workshops across all the islands and communities, and we're helping them understand an application of effective community-based prevention strategies, and really empowering them in what they can do and impact in their communities. Tier 2 is this youth summit. We're bringing in all the schools, the high schools, where you already know the problems and successes that's happening in their communities or schools. So being able to use their voice and advocate for themselves, but also how to put it into action. And then tier 3 is about mobilizing community action. So we're taking people from the community workshop and taking people from the youth summit, and we're putting them together into these work groups that are based off of district to tackle issues that are happening in their schools or community. And it's really important that these work groups are youth-led, and adults are there to support them in their action with the resources. So if you're interested or you believe your community or organization could benefit from this, you can contact us to host a workshop in your area. The presentations are 1 hour long, and we're open to doing multiple presentations in a day. So we've done presentations in Kona, Hilo, Lahaina, Wailuku, Nanakuli, and in Kaka'ako. And we go deeper into the strategy itself, and we go talk about like current youth substance trends in Hawaii and all of that. So here's our website, our Instagram, and then of course, if you want to request a workshop, or you can email me at info@hawaiiyouthprevention.org. Yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Also, mahalo nui loa for the presentation and for the work that you all are doing. I think it's super awesome and great. Okay, questions from board members. Let's start with Dr. Amy Bosler, then Lynn after.
Thank you. This is great. Love it. Can you tell me what ages your target community is?
Well, we believe like the youth, like it's all community, right? However, for like the youth summit, we're specifically asking like grades 9 through 12 around there. And because they're the ones that are actually in schools, and they can kind of make that change. And eventually they can start inviting like the middle school or and implementing them as well.
And then my other question was, do you have any incentive programs to get kids to come to the youth summits? Because I mean, I want kids to be intrinsically motivated to do this, but sometimes they need more to get them going.
So as of right now, as we're working with DOE, they're having the principals register the students that want to go.
So maybe like certificates.
Yeah.
Or something to build a resume, something that gives them the motivation.
Definitely,
Yeah.
for sure. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to board member Kara England.
Okay, so your last slide saying, where can, if you know of anyone interested in what you're doing. So give me an idea of an organization or a group that is your target.
For example, we work with law enforcement. So SROs are really important. They're the ones that are in front of students all the time and building that trusted adult relationship. So any adult that has like a touch point with kids, I think is like super important in doing these workshops.
Are you slated to go to the detention center here at the courthouse with the youth there?
We're definitely open to it as well. Yeah.
Let's go to board member Sheila Medeiros.
Hello.
Hello.
How long has this program been in existence? When did it start?
In terms of HIDA, I think it's been here for a while. But in terms of the prevention team, I think it's been about like 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
So thank you for your presentation. I was just astonished because I'm National Guard, retired, anyway. The question I have is, because there's so many different programs similar to this, are you folks partnering with other organizations? Because it's the same like houseless programs. Like we have a lot under that umbrella. And I just think sometimes when you we have so many different ones, and you folks touch on similar things. I think it may be bringing them together, making a bigger program that we have a bigger impact. I think when we have too many organizations doing the same thing, I think we kind of lose that focus, that impact. So just a thought. I want to ensure that we're when you're in front of students, that you're bringing that information that can actually touch more than what you folks are delivering. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, so, because there's three organizations I know that touches the same of what you folks are doing, and they're in the school. So my question would be, are you guys collaborating? I think that would be ideal.
Yes, we do collaborate with all the different coalitions here for prevention. So yeah.
Let's go to board member Hale online.
Good evening, and thank you for your presentation. I got a question. Anybody on your panel are law enforcement certified, retired, and have not only law enforcement street experience, but correctional experience, so they can bring some, real life experiences to the presentation. Thank you.
For the summit, we do not have law enforcement panels. No.
Any other questions from board members? Any questions, comments from the community at large with this initiative? Come on down. Aloha.
Does your program mainly focus on like schools, or do you also advocate? So I'm a former foster child, so I just wanted to know if you've ever had like interactions with foster youth?
So our program is not just about schools. I think it's more about all of the community members in general. So I definitely think we're open to it. And if you want to like contact us, we can definitely make something happen or work something out.
Yep, come on down.
As far as the program is conducted, you said it's 1 hour. Is it just a presentation, or is there like interaction, or like could you kind of go over what it would be like, what the experience would be like for the kids?
For the community workshops, it's a little different, but I think you're talking about more about the youth summit, which is tier 2. So tier 2 for the youth summit, there's 2 tracks that we're having that's happening. So there's the adult track and the youth track. So the youth are learning about youth advocacy and youth voice. And then the second one would be about culture. So staying rooted in culture, especially because we live on Hawaii, right? And how to use that as a way of empowering you. And then, sorry, I don't remember the top of my head. But yeah, there's a 3rd class. And then the adults have the separate track on the same time. And they go over how to help the youth with their voice and empowerment. And then effective evidence-based prevention strategies as well, and stuff like that.
So if I follow up with our community members' question, if you could clarify, it seems like the organizational community workshop that you do is looking at those members that are already adults that are interacting or with youth and willing to be brought up to speed on tips, tricks, and empowerment methods that you guys are servicing. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's still open to the youth because they're still part of the community, that they make up the community, right? And eventually, we've had some students or kids that do come to the workshop, and they're very interested in what we do and how to do it with their as well.
Okay, awesome. So basically, act and engage people that want to engage with youth, whether or not they're youth or an adult. Got it. Okay, community members got it? Okay. Good. Awesome. Any other questions, comments, or well wishes? Okay. Mahalo nui loa for what you all are doing, and continue the good work, and feel free to come back to the forum and let us know how we might continue to assist. Okay.
Thank you again.
Okay, gang, we're at the public input portion of the meeting where you get to come up and share your comments, questions, concerns. Mele, Oli, dance for us for 3 minutes, no longer than 3 minutes. Everybody gets 3 minutes. So, and we'll alternate between in-person and online. Yep, let's start in person.
Hi, my name is Leslie Keating, and I wanted to make a resident. I wanted to make a comment about the elections, and I would really like the chance to vote. And I didn't get to vote, you know, and I didn't realize that it went to a lottery. And I'm hoping that our state legislature will change this, because when something's run uncontested and there is the tie, which I thought was a miracle, but I wasn't voting for it, so I didn't get a choice in it. But it seems like when something's run uncontested like that, it should go to the general election so that the rest of us who don't get to be involved, because it's not an open primary, although I think I would prefer an open primary because that would make the people who are running reach out to a more diverse community. And that's what reason why I prefer an open primary myself. And I like that for everything. I mean, all the way to the governor, so that we get more moderate people that are really reaching out to the entire community. But I guess I didn't realize that what was going to happen, and I kind of feel a little cheated. And I also want to see another thing about the voting thing is when something is going to go uncontested. Like, I love Senator Gabbard. He's great. You know, I go to all his meetings, nothing against him. But honestly, why don't we have someone running against him? Why don't we have a choice? Why don't we have more community input? It's almost like there needs to be a warning system before the final week of deadlines. You know, put your hat in it, just because you can at least make it a discussion about what we want from our political leaders. And so those were my comments, just because local voting happened. And it was a little weird and only controversial to me because I didn't get to have a say at all. So, thank you.
Mahalo, thank you. Anyone online at this time? Seeing no one online, let's go back in person. Come on down.
Hi, my name is Abuhi Chanel Kalali Robinson. I wanted to bring something to light that maybe perhaps the community may not be aware of. So I'm a very big advocate for Hawaiian land sovereignty and speaking about our rights in general. The one thing that I wanted to share about the election is I actually motioned to intervene in the Supreme Court hearing with Tommy Waters. And I wanted to just share some things that came out of that, because your community was also somewhat affected, being that there was a vote by a Lauhala basket. Okay, so what I wanted to speak on is that we do have election rules, and there has been words used within the Supreme Court by the justices of words of ambiguity, of whether it's elected or if it's term served. And I want the community to be that this is affecting you, because they're going to change how people can run and for their tenure. We have strict rules, whether it's a 4-year or 2, incumbent. And right now in the Supreme Court, it's being heard where potentially a candidate who already ran 2 terms will be allowed to run a 3rd term based on an idea of ambiguity. Okay, and with the Lauhala basket situation, it's being stretched into these other types of elections. And what ends up happening, because it's going to happen here, and I'm just trying to put that foundation, with Tommy Waters and Ozawa in 2018, the same situation happened where they had such a close vote. In their situation, though, instead of a Lauhala basket, it went to a new election. So it was voted on that it would go. Unfortunately, I'm not sure why the court didn't intervene in this situation. Allowed a Valhalla basket to choose your fate instead of providing you an opportunity of a new election. So already for me, that's a problem. Because I think that that's very unfair for this community that another community had someone step in for them. So I'm here to advocate for you folks that that's already a problem. And in addition to that, it's also going uncontested, meaning that there's not any voice. This community is a blue collar, hardworking community, okay? The community that Tommy Waters comes from, that's a tax bracket I have no privilege of being involved in, okay? So the type of energy that they're putting into this situation is so incredible. I want a Starbucks card in that district. You know, so I myself, as a Hawaiian advocate, I go through court hearings all the time trying to advocate, not just for the Hawaiian people, but to make fair for, like, I cannot discredit that there's other people that live here besides the Hawaiian people. And we are all being affected, especially when we live somewhere with two constitutions. So that blew me away, because you have the Constitution of the state of Hawaii and the United States Constitution literally in competition with each other in this very moment on our island in the Supreme Court, being broadcasted to the entire community, and no one's holding the justices accountable. And I am filing motions after motions, reconsiderations. And the reason is because I heard a Chief Justice use the word ambiguity and almost agree without agreeing that it can be considered that if you have a new election, that your term is shortened, you potentially could have a third term. And that would mean 12 years. 12 years. And I'm just speaking on facts. If you go into the Bureau of Conveyance, you can research your councilmen and your councilwomen. And Mr. Tommy Waters has quite a lot of developments. And there's a lot being built in his district. And I just want it to be fair. So I just wanted to share that with you folks. You know, I know the Valhalla basket thing took me for a moon, but I hope that you folks also have the same rights, that there should have been a new election, because it really isn't fair for either side, for anyone who's involved. And I just wanted to share that with you. I literally went serving people today and is like in the thick of it. So if you ever have a question on how to file a motion on a Supreme Court case or anything, let me know. I'm always excited about that, because I think that you should know that you can intervene because you have an interest, because it affects you for the next 4 years or however it is, right? So I'm Avapui. Have a great day.
Mahalo. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the next. Come on down.
Hi, Leticia Hernandez, Villages of Kapolei. I was hoping that either somebody from the state or the city and county would have been here so I could address them directly. But I guess I just wanted to follow up. I did reach out to Senator Gabbard a few months back regarding the Villages of Kapolei land transfer that is currently still being negotiated between the city and county and the state. And I did file the UEPA process. I actually filed two UEPAs. The first one being the land transfer itself. So I have a for action dated September 9th of 2021, which states that the roadway lots are intended to be turned over to the city. However, the association, sub-association, or homeowners will need to assume landscape maintenance responsibilities of the street frontages along the roadways to see the exhibit. The reason why I'm bringing this as a concern is because we all know that the last hurricane that touched down on Big Island and made its way here as a tropical storm, affected Mililani a lot. And how it affected Mililani was the trees, all the trees that toppled over, right? Some causing car damages, some causing home damages, some even up to allowing neighbors to not even be able to exit their homes because the trees are being blocked, right? And I bring this to the attention because when we're talking about transferring over the villages of Kapolei areas, it's all those trees that are surrounding that area as well. And God forbid that it starts becoming a blaming game. Who actually owns what? What created what to happen? The loss of electricity. Was it because the tree that fell over that hit the power line that then made the loss of the electricity? And now Hiko's trying to blame the tree and the owner of the tree, right? So I'm bringing all of this because we have that issue. And then we also have the sunset declarant of 2030, which I'm assuming whatever is left over that the state does not transfer over to the city and county will then be transferred over to VOCA, or VOCA will somehow inherit it, which then becomes a problem to us. My partner technically still is a homeowner. I am in the process of becoming on the deed to be a homeowner. Just so when I use the proper terminologies, everybody understands who is the homeowner and who isn't, because that's a problem in VOCA itself. But anyways, I had to pay for this, right? So when I paid for it, I paid, and this is what I was given. I was given the topographical maps of all the villages of Kapolei. What the topographical maps does not tell you is that this was done by Control Point in 2021. The draft that I'm talking about will be written up in 2023, meaning that there was some odd 15 months that went by, and HHFDC is sending me something that is not what was requested, okay? And this was $25. The next bill that I'm getting is $570. I want to make sure that what I'm paying for is actually what I'm requesting. And what I'm requesting is the dollar amount. You might ask why the dollar amount is relevant. If the city is negotiating to take it over for 60 million, the state is already saying that it's 125 or 100 plus million. They got their facts from somewhere. And who is that somewhere? It's WPS, right? They hired them as the engineering company. WPS is the primary. Control Point is a secondary contract, subcontract on this. And I just want to make sure that when I'm requesting things and I'm funneling through the right channel, that I'm getting what I'm asking for. And what I feel like what I'm getting is subpar to what I'm asking, because what I'm asking bears merit on what is currently being negotiated. I know what I'm asking for, and I'm asking because it protects the interest of not only myself, but all 4,000 homeowners that make up this association, right? So right now we're talking in terms of our money that we are already setting aside for the next 5 years through this 5-year strategic plan to take over what HHFDC is leaving behind, basically, is the way I see it. They're leaving it behind to the VOCA residents. And who's going to pay for the bill? Right? So when we're talking about, oh, we bought out that, so we're taking over the 2022 and we're updating it. What happened to the 2021? Because I didn't see anywhere in any of all of the research that I'm doing that what they said in 2021 was it was going to the homeowners, the association, sub-associations. That's what I'm looking for. And what I'm looking for and what I'm paying for is what I should be getting. And I don't feel like I'm getting that. So I don't know if I didn't want to overstep anybody's toes. I wanted to wait till tonight came about. Because I have the door open to Mr. Ping like I did before, as well as Senator Gabbard, as I've done talks with him, but I just want to know, are we at that point where I start harping on somebody else's door to help me get what I need? That's all I have. Thank you.
Well, before you go down, some questions, because this has been a recurring issue that you've been trying to advocate on behalf of the community. Regarding your FOIA requests, one, do you want to actually make the information that you've requested available, including the FOIA request, so people can look with their own eyeballs, like what you asked for and what you got?
Yes, because
Okay.
when I did submit it on behalf of the community's interest at large. So therefore, the first $30 is waived.
Okay, so if that's the case, then I would beg for a motion from the board in order to actually publicize the documentation that our community member got on our behalf in our Google Drive. So we have to do that to two moves. One is to add it to the agenda, and then the second is to actually vote on it. So is there a motion to add placing the FOIA requested information on the Google Drive? It's been moved and seconded by Sheila Maderas and seconded by Dr. Amy Bosler. At this time, is there any public testimony? Okay, any further discussion from the board members for adding it to the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed say aole. Any abstentions say kanalua. Okay, chair saw everyone actually say aye, including the ones I saw online with their hands. Okay, unanimous. Okay, now, do we want to actually put it onto the Google Drive into its own folder, similar to what we've done with the Project Savoy, or similar that we've done with Makakilo Drive? So all of the major issues that our community has been engaging with, we've created folders with all available information that community members have given us so that we can all go and look at the same thing, so we're all on the same fact page. So it's not censored. You can provide any information you want. We'll put it in there and people will vet it themselves. Okay, now to the motion at hand. Is there a motion to add the FOIA requested information for the villages of Kapolei? Okay, it's been moved by Dr. Amy Bosler, seconded by Kara England. Any public testimony? Okay, hearing none. Any discussion from the board members? Seeing none. Any objections? Hearing none. Okay, you got the folder. So please get the digital copies or the physical copies to us and we'll get it on for everybody to be able to look with their own eyeballs. Thank you so much for doing that legwork so that we don't drive the people at HHFDC crazy by asking them the same things over and over, right?
Yeah.
Trying to
you.
help them too. Okay, awesome. Now we'll start our new project folder for Villages of Kapolei, and feel free to send every information that you have with the potable water situation or any of the situations with Villages of Kapolei that you did FOIA requests on. Okay, any other community members wishing to come and share a question, concern, introduction, anything, come on down.
My concern is the hurricanes, especially Lala. Maintain the state and all the people who had cleared out everything. I mean, I went back to Waianae this past weekend and I was like, whoa. Or even see the graphics on Big Island or even Maui. It's like, man, this is as bad as Evo Iniki. But I mean, I work as a security guard at Kapolei Convenience Center. I mean, they lifted up the 2 loads per day till this past Monday. And our average was over 200 cars just my location. And a lot of greens, a lot of debris. My concern or comment would be for the mayor. If he could update the rules, meaning we had quite a bit of flatbed trailers and box trucks coming in. Kapolei is the only largest driveway in, meaning you go to Whitehall, Ever, or Waianae, it's like you're going into one train track. And those vehicles cannot even make it. Yes. So I'm just concerned is like, it's kind of honestly, it's kind of frustrating, but I'm trying my best to be fair to the public. I explained to the driver, the people, the rules. I have to contact the city and county supervisor to get approval to let them in. You know, that way I don't lose my job. But what really upsets me when people just come up and burst and start cussing at me. I'm like, yeah, I'm only doing my job. I mean, but it was a good challenge. Exhausted. Like, you could have a beer after. But yeah, I wanted to see if the mayor could update put a sign also on each site that we don't allow box trucks, trailers, and commercial vehicles. That's all.
Okay. So mahalo for raising the issue, particularly in post-disaster cleanup. There's a possibility, and maybe we can touch base offline, whether or not we should request the city and county have special rules for post-disaster cleanups to allow for box trucks, trailers, and anybody trying to transportate debris to actually go to sites that they are not able to, but direct them to where it can actually, because it's physically able to, right? Like you said, those of us that gone to certain transfer stations, we know you cannot drive one box truck in there. It's just not gonna work. But people that don't know because they don't go, right? So it'd be super helpful. So maybe particularly emergency order or rules during an emergency post cleanup situation. So we can look into that. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for raising that concern.
The other thing is, if I turn them away, they would have to go to Kapolei or KE transfer station. They're the ones who take the papers in. I don't want to do that, honestly. And I tell them, people come with the flatbeds. I'm like, okay, I'll let you go this time, but please don't bring it. And you charge, they rent the vehicle from Home Depot, U-Haul, or other companies, and like, man, too much. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, mahalo. Come on down. Still going and checking online. Nobody online so far wanting to speak, so come on down.
Aloha, my name is Susan Trombley, and I'm a Villages of Kapolei resident. And I listened to last night's news with dismay when the governor forcefully promoted the LNG project after we have made our voices known. And I was saddened, just saddened.
Mahalo, Auntie, for sharing that sentiment. It is one that I've heard personally from community members regarding LNG. And there's a difference between LNG as a policy, as a bridge fuel that's going to affect everyone versus how it's going to impact the community that's next to the infrastructure that they're bringing the LNG through. So there's different costs depending on where you are in the community. So mahalo for raising that concern. Okay, let's go to our next community member. Please introduce yourself and share your mana'o.
Good evening, Chairman and board members. I'm a visitor to Honolulu, and I'm an interested observer in your board meeting. Thanks for the opportunity to comment. My name is McKinley Addy, and I'm a vice president of a company called ATRA. And I'm also representing Hawaiian Collaborating Partners, Waste to Fuel, Hawaii LLC, and Friends of Waimanalo. I've tried to learn how to pronounce that word. But by invitation of Chairman Paris and by way of introduction, ATRA and Waste to Fuel Hawaii are collaboratively exploring energy solutions that can bring long-term relief for the cost pressure the people of Oahu face. Our company develops energy and engineering solutions to help businesses and consumers navigate rising energy and mobility costs and sustainability challenges. I was privileged to work at the California Energy Commission and the California Air Resources Board to help that state transition from a high carbon economy to a low carbon economy. and put California on the path to sustainability. We hope to share some of these insights and experience and expertise from the California work to the solutions or the energy challenges that the folks here in Oahu are facing, as well as some of the broad waste management issues. Without getting into specifics, we expect to share our thinking on these topics with the communities of District 34. I hope I'm getting that right. In the coming months through ongoing conversations, dialogue, and meetings. And we look forward to briefing some of you individually, as well as potentially collaborating to bring some of these solutions to reality. Thank you.
Mahalo, thank you very much for coming and joining us and being here and coming and talking story with the community before you have a project in pocket. Super, super good mark for you.
Thank you very much. We learned that from the California experience. You talk to people.
Mahalo, thank you so much. Okay, Auntie, come on down.
I just wanted to bring something up that I want to know what's really happening is, my concern is the Makakilo emergency. That is only, I don't know if all of you know it, that is only for emergency vehicles, police, not the people. They have 3,600 people there. Every year when they have hurricane, I've been working emergencies and everything on them. Everybody from all the islands go up any which way, any park, any way on the road. Sometimes you can't even get to your house because people are parked in the middle wherever they can park. I know everybody gets desperate, but you got to plan something to fix this problem, because sometimes the people that can't even get home have families too that need to get home to take care of their families too. It's very important. Makakilo extension has been fought for over 50 years. It has been ignored and went to all, I don't want to rename them again, but it's been given to the better politicians that want to have their money spent, and they're taking everything away from Makakilo. It isn't right. The bicycles, I don't care. We don't need them. Right now, don't you want to save lives and make sure people can get up safely someplace, up the hill, at least park somewhere safe and get up there instead of spending all that money? And who cares if you have tourists? Tourists usually like to walk around and look around. Do they really need the canal to spend all that millions of dollars and which they could use towards a Makakilo completion? There's people that really depend on that. They really need it. It's very important that it does have happen and quit getting ignored. It needs to have pressure. These politicians, they know, I can stir up a lot of people too, because I know a lot of facts. And if I have to do that way, I will. But I think we need to start with the neighborhood board knows what the people want. We want to be safe. We want to take care of the people. We're tired of having everything built halfway. The rail built and then it breaks, and we spend billions of dollars to have something that could cost less. They need to listen to Frank. I've been working with Frank on the committee for years. Frank has the intelligence of what is the best money spent, how to do it. They need to start listening to him to see how to do it. But as far as the Makakilo, if you want to really take care of all the community, the people that live down below, we need to stop building. We need to start making sure that ag land is not used for solar. It needs to start growing things for the people, for the cattle. We should have cattle here in the Gulch. Who's going to be taking care of the gulch if there's a fire? Who's technically responsible for the gulches? What about the bridges? Did you see all the bridges that went down from what happened with the flood water? What about all of the chickens, the wild chickens that have disease and all that? I know people don't want to do it, but I hate to be mean, but the feral cats and some of them have actually infested some of the animals, and it's not the people, it's the feral cats. And I'm a cat animal lover. I'm just saying, you need to look at If you have your cat, keep him in your house so he doesn't get infected and doesn't do something to get your children infected or other people. I am an animal lover. I went on a farm. I had every little animal that got injured. I captured and fixed them till they escaped. Raccoons learn how to open up the doors. But all I'm saying is, please think about Makakilo completion. We need to put pressure on the politicians. If they really care about Makakilo this side, start treating us like the second city. Start giving us what you guys are requesting and start backing you up. Thank you.
Mahalo, community member, for your advocacy, for fighting for what our community actually was promised and what we deserved, because as other community members in this very forum have shared, that we pay property taxes and we are not getting our fair share. So let's go now to, okay, board members have on her comment, you have a question for her? Okay. Okay, go right ahead. Recommend, let's go to board member Kara England and then Sheila Medeiros afterwards.
Just wanted to let you know that we have, well, at the board, we are supporting getting the Makakilo extension completed. And just to let you know, kind of like a little bit of information without giving it away, we are creatively looking at ways of getting it done. So we hear you and we are doing things about it.
I think it will be beneficial to hear what the permitted interaction group that Amazon Project Savoy Pig has to say, because the Amazon project that we are looking at is one of many development projects that have come to us, and probably more will come to us. So the community stakeholders have gotten together and trying to figure out not just a one-off, but how do we actually provide a structure that makes sure that our interests are at the forefront, because Honolulu Hale concerns about Honolulu Hale and the state capital concerns about the state capital. They don't necessarily care about the community of impacts. And our community disproportionately supplies the entire state with energy and industrial capacity and with trash and waste management. So look forward to the pigs report. Okay, let's go to board member Sheila Medeiros.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just wanted to clarify what Jackie reported in regards to the emergency access road. So the route, I'm pulling it right from city and county. The route will only be opened by first responders during emergency incidents and is not available for public use unless officially activated by first responders. So what that means, it is for the access for public use in the event of an emergency. So it's not just for first responders. They have to activate and the first responders will open it up so the public can come out. So there is an emergency access road, but it has to be managed by the first responders. So I'm reading it right from city and county. So we need to make sure that we're providing the correct information, because people were promised certain things, and this is something that Representative Keela, Councilmember Tupa, and Senator Gabbard and Garcia worked on to get this going. So we do have an emergency access road. I do agree we do need a Makakilo extension coming off the hill. And thankfully we have the pig going on right now, and hopefully we can make strides with that. But that's all I have.
So let's go to our community member. Come on down. Oh,
Aloha, I'm actually the representative for Councilmember Tupola.
Okay, go ahead.
So I was there when she reported with Senator Gabbard, along with the emergency director, Jennifer, forget her last name. But they explained that that road has multiple owners. And the one owner, and it might be a multiple, but are of a Hawaiian descent, because it goes over a canal that you cannot cover. And you cannot, because it's a legacy property, or it's a Hawaiian home, Hawaiian land, actually. And that they had to build a bridge that was of a specific way that made the amount of money double. So what was $50 million to create a road turned into 100 million, or like 95 million, which was not capable in the current budget. And so they did have to stop, but it was because of an owner of land, not because of the city, not because it wasn't feasible of everything else. But they do have, when they call it an access road and in emergencies, similar to Honokai Pass, it is not an access where you go in and out. It's gonna go one way and only one way, which is kind of like how they build on the west side. When there's a access road that is needed an emergency, it's a one-way road, because to have people going up and down on any access road, it gets kind of confusing because it's roads you've never used before. So they're very, very mindful, and it's narrow, and it doesn't have guardrails up because it is a private road. So those were the reasons why that they put that on the back burner, or they've had to settle for emergency, and that they do have access. They do have the emergency police, fire, EMS, they do have the call. They can make the call immediately if it's an emergency. They can make the call for themselves to come in and out because they have the keys. For public to have an emergency, it does take a little bit more of the chain, because it has to have people to man it. It cannot just be, it's open, everybody go. It's got to be manned because it's not built in a way that the roads are built. So that's what I got from Senator Gabbard's meeting that I attended, as well as Councilmember Tupola, and I learned a little bit more about that. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I will debate you and I'll bring the information for the next meeting. That's true what you're talking about, but what I was talking about is, I live there. Guess where they all come through? They come through, they shoot through all of our homes. There's only one way up that blocks. They come through they come through our area, right where that's coming out. They're coming through the area where I live, up by the fire station, and they're routing everybody around you. But you got to remember, everybody is coming from all over the island to us.
Right.
We live there. You're
Right.
talking about the fire thing. That road is not going to be open to everybody, to get everybody. It will never. We have over, you're talking about 3,000 just in our area, but you're talking about everybody coming from all over the areas that don't belong to the association. They come up through our area. Just when they had just that hurricane warnings, there's no place to move. There's no route. There's no, the money was there. I can tell you, I've been on a committee for 50 years. I can go back because I still got the original drawings. The money was there. It was ignored. We had it. I worked on the committee. I worked when we had safety places where they had trails for them and everything there. I still have the original with Frank and all that. We can go back. Gabbard, I don't know. I don't know what he had, but I know what the prices were, because I'm vocal like I am right now. I live there. It affects me. I have people and friends that are disabled and that, and I worry about them too. I'm not the best, but I can hop around to help whatever I can. And I do that, even though I'm not supposed to. I will help them. But I'm saying you aren't looking at the reality. You guys don't live there. If you lived up there and see what was really happening, where they're coming for your neighborhood and people are, they're looking for any place just for safety. That's all they're looking for, is safety. And they need to have a road that you can go up safely, up high enough on the hill that you don't have to worry. And they have all that stuff with bridges and whatever. There isn't enough road. There's too much people that are just parking their vehicles and leaving them. And the poor city can't keep up with what's going on. People are doing all this illegal building with permits. And they're having all these big houses and they're just trying to survive. And that's all we want on this side is survive.
Right.
But we can't survive if there's no way safe to us. But if you need that, I'll provide it for you. I can go all the way back because I was president on that area and that was a big problem. Thank you.
Okay, mahalo. So thank you so much. And for the previous testifier that was Representative Council Member Tupola, you should provide us the information in physical copies because it's one thing to say it here, but you have to remember the community doesn't necessarily trust what people say because we've been burned so many times. So if you're going to make those claims, please back it up with Pala, and provide the records because right now we have the environmental impact statement that shows the plan of how we can get through. And we have the documents from Tupola's office about what the costs were before. So if something happened at Senator Gabbard's meeting where you guys got this epiphany where we have to settle for this, please let us know because that was never officially communicated to us ever. Yeah, sure. I'm just letting you know because you're going to come and make these statements on behalf of Representative Tupola, and this is the first time we're hearing about this very sensitive issue about the access road and about the Hawaiian family, and that's the reason why.
Okay, well, so that is what I got out of Senator, because Senator Gabbard had his, no, listen story. This is listen story. That's,
Sure.
It's called Listen Story, and he had as guests, Councilmember Tupola and the emergency manager, or Jennifer, I think her name is. And I can get that information from her as well as Councilmember Tupola and all of the back information, because we did ask for an updated EIS, because they were going to make an updated one, but they didn't because they knew what the problem was. So they didn't want to spend more money making another EIS. So we got the latest one and the only one from, I'll get the information and I'll pass you the exact email and we can put it in a folder called
No, we have our folder.
No, that's what I mean. So
what I'm saying is the council member already provided us with that EIS. She provided with this. This is the first time. Anybody else heard? Exactly. So you just came here and shared this the first time, right? And that's super awesome. And now you're saying that the city, who was the city person?
the department, when she went to get the EIS.
Oh, no, at the Listen Story. You're the one that's saying that the Listen Story does the first time.
The first time I heard about it. But Councilmember Tupola was speaking, so was
But she was the one that was speaking about the reason why we don't have another EIS is because the Hawaiian, see, that's the issue. You just brought that up tonight. About a Hawaiian family having land, multiple owners, and that's the reason why the price went double. You got to be careful with your words. If that's the allegation you're making.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Because sister, you put that on a Hawaiian family.
That was.
That would double, yeah, but by whom? By whom? See,
Councilmember Tupola.
she said this.
At the Senator.
Did she say that?
She said it at the Senator Gabbard's meeting.
What did she say? That's what we're trying to understand.
When they did the first.
Yeah.
Quote, it was $50 million.
Got it. Okay.
Then it became double because they needed to in order for the canal not to be, to have the right bridge over the canal.
Right.
And that was owned by a Hawaiian family.
Okay.
That was the only way it would work. That they would have a bridge going over, and it was additional money, so $50 million.
So because of a private landowner that was a Hawaiian family,
I shouldn't have said anything.
no, it's okay. So like, no worries, no worries. Let's take this back. We're not trying to be hostile or antagonistic. We're just trying to be like, we want to make sure that we have factual information shared because our community has been gaslit, has been promised things, have been told things that people never follow through on. And we just want to make sure we understand what you're saying and where it's coming from. So no worries. If you guys, not a problem. It's not an issue. We just want to make sure we on the same page because we all on the same team. We like what are doing, helping us out. Got that. But now this story that somebody said about the Hawaiian family just seems a little odd.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that's, so I can get the information directly from her as well as from the Director of Emergency Services.
Yeah, I think,
Specific.
yeah, that'll be super helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it's staying the way it is as board member Sheila Majaros had said. That's what's on the website, right? That they're just making it very clear that that's all it's going to be used for current, that's what it's on.
Gotcha. Okay, so we are conflating two issues then. I think I was confused and maybe the community was confused. One is the emergency access road, which is a private road that already exists, that first responders have keys to and they can access, that our legislators and area legislators, including Councilmember Tupola, Representative Darius Kila, Representative Garcia, and Senator Gabbard was able to help negotiate and get us access to. No problem. Okay, awesome. And then we were also talking about the fact that the community has been promised, including from the city, to actually create the completion of that, which now that is a separate road, right? That's the thing. That access road versus what the completion is in the original drawings are two different things. And then no worries. See, no worries. Okay, let's go to Uncle Frank Ganadio, and then afterwards we can continue with the report from Representative Tupola, I think, right? Afterwards? Sure, thank you. Okay, Uncle Frank, you have any mana'o you wanted to share about this before we continue?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Frank Genadio, that emergency access road, I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's a red herring designed to deflect attention away from the completion of Makakilo Drive. And by the way, it was not an EIS, it was an environmental assessment, which said there'd be no impact. And people keep forgetting that the completion of the drive also has to do with congestion management, not just emergency access. And that emergency access road would do nothing for congestion management. Thank you.
Okay, mahalo. So, see, that's why we have loyal or experts in our own community, right? That's why people's eyeballs were going up when the new representative and she was conflating two different issues that we know they're two separate things. One is the access road, which provides emergency access when we have an emergency declared and the first responders can provide access. But the community is still waiting, as Auntie says, for 50 years for the completion of the drive, which is totally separate, which has its own EIS from the first time that they've done it, and that it's about congestion management and safety for the region, beyond just an emergency access point. Okay, no worries. We give her much grace and aloha because she knew. So all of the people that are experts, go talk story with her, and then you guys can get her up to speed, and then that'll be super helpful as we work with council members to Tupola's office. Okay, now what are the other mana'o that council members wanted to share with us this evening? No worries, you got it, everybody. Share some aloha. She's doing a good job. If you can get through this, you can get through anything.
My name is Stephanie. I'm council member Tupola's representative.
Welcome, Stephanie. We're glad that you're here.
Stephanie, you're doing a great job. I was at that listen talk or listen thing with Gabbard. Now, Andrea Tupolo, what she did though was actually give us like good information about how to handle this access road. She brought up really good points because of her experience on the west side with the Kapolei Pass. So what she did was actually said, this is the things you should think about. And she gave like 5 or 6 points. And that's what Andrea did to that meeting to add on. Haima was there. That's the Jennifer lady. And then we had Mike Gabbard. Yes. So yes, she did come in with tips and tricks and how to make this access road more plausible and easier to use. And the other thing that you mentioned, I didn't remember her saying that, so that's okay. But I just wanted to kind of like shed some light about what she actually said during that meeting. But you're doing great. You're doing great, dear.
So take a breath. You're good. Like, no worries. We were just caught off guard. Okay. What else would you like to share from Representative Tupolo's office?
Did everyone about the part 3, which is the homeless program that we're doing at Kapolei Library on Tuesdays and Wednesdays until Thanksgiving. So I brought some flyers, and then she wanted you to know about the cohorts, which is cohort 7 and 8, which is what was completed for this year. 125 and 120. See?
You're in the community forum. You're doing great. You're doing great.
You're doing great.
No worries. She's fine, girl. Don't worry. Yeah, she's there when you share.
I got
No worries.
Okay.
We all start someplace. It's not a problem.
I know, but.
It's a passionate topic, that's all it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Not about you.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
That's
it's not,
the
it's
thing.
not, it's not.
We want you to come back and.
No.
Yes. Yes. Come back.
We're gonna talk about this. Okay, so the cohorts are the data that we share of who we've helped or how many we've helped and how they've been connected to the service providers, the nonprofits who come out and support these get-togethers where we try to help those that are homeless and houseless. And so we're continuing with cohort 10. So this will last all the way till the week of Thanksgiving. And then we'll be done for this year, and then we'll start up again next year. So she wanted you to have those, and you can find them on her website. She did want you to just know that there are 3 bills that are concerning Kapolei area and Eva area, and it is about changing ag land to
What you said after she called.
what is it, ag land to home use or residential. So there are 3 bills, bills 37, 38, and 39. So just to be aware. And then also, we're starting in October, the GROW program, which is going to be the green compost. Your green
Right.
cart can now be used, or as of October 1st, can now have solid food waste or food scraps. There is a website and it tells you what not to put in there as well as what you can put in there, tips on how to do it so you don't get all the like leftover liquid things on the bottom. So you kind of mix and match your dry leaves and things, put that on the bottom, and you can use baking soda to kind of make sure the smell doesn't stay. Try to freeze all of your food waste, and then maybe the night before, you can dump it without the plastic into the green bins. So not just dead leaves and grass. Now you could, as of October 1, you can start putting in food waste. Okay, and then I'll bring more flyers the next time. And then Councilmember Tupola is on the end landfill task force. And they had their first meeting, so they're just really gathering people getting the right people in the community, people who have offered to be part of the task force. There will be a website that will be starting. Hopefully, we'll get it in the next week or two so that we can put down what their mission is, the information. And, she's just asking for support because we all want to end landfills. And so if you, however you can support and make sure your voice is heard for that. Okay, that's all I have.
Let's give her a warm welcome and a great applause. Good job.
Thanks for the baptizing.
And super awesome that council member flagged bills 37, 38, and 39 for us, which is crucial. And we'll put that on to the next neighborhood board agenda so that we can actually take action on that. Okay. And to board member Kara England.
Okay, so I just wanted to make a comment about the Restore, Reconnect, and Revive. 2 weeks ago, I brought a homeless client to this event, and Kika actually followed through and got us connected with Catholic Charities. And seriously, guys, I think they're going to get him housed in 90 days. So it started with this program. So thank you.
Awesome. So all community for the warm welcome for our new community member representative for Andrea Tupola, Stephanie Nojima. So welcome to the Ohana. Okay. Anyone else from the legislative side or community members? Okay, Melanie June, go right ahead for Senator Gabbard.
Aloha board and community members. I'm Melanie. I'm Senator Gabbard's community liaison. And Senator Gabbard's August newsletter is now available, and I'll be sure to drop that link in the chat for everybody. And also, I'd like to invite everyone to Senator Gabbard's next Listen Story community meeting. That'll be this Saturday, August 29th from 9 to 10 a.m. at Kapolei High School Teachers Lounge. Our guest speaker this month will be Harry Cho from HART, and he'll be discussing the latest HART and Skyline updates, including construction progress, ridership, upcoming milestones, and what West Oahu residents can expect moving forward. And he'll also be available to answer questions from the community. And if you can't make it in person, there is a Zoom option also available. You can just email our office to RSVP. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions or concerns back to the senator.
Thank you, Melanie, for the report. On behalf of Gabbard, any questions, comments, or concerns from community members? The only thing I would like to focus on is from the community concerns this evening regarding the voting on the primary. So if Senator could consider opening up for a discussion for how we might address ties in the future or potentially readdressing our primaries to allow for voters to be able to engage in the general if potentially moving away from the party-based primaries. So just taking a look at that and see if there's other legislators that are also hearing similar concepts from around that we able to find the position that our community is open to hear.
Sure, yes, absolutely. And I did want to add that our Listen Story meetings are recorded and posted on Senator's YouTube page. So if you guys have any questions or concerns about what happened at his last meeting, it is available on his YouTube.
Okay. Awesome. Now, seeing no other community members or electeds wishing to come and share with us this evening, let's get to board business. Approval of the minutes, Wednesday, June 24th, 2026, and Wednesday, July 2022 and 2026. Is there any correction? Community at large. Hearing no corrections, the chair calls them adopted as circulated unanimously. Next, let's go to the first resolution, which just as Representative Tupola helped to establish the Landfills Task Force, the Senate and the legislature also created the Waste Reduction Working Group. So we have a resolution here urging the Honolulu Inlands Task Force and the Hawaii Demolition Waste Reduction Working Group to collaborate on a zero waste circular economy statewide plan for waste prevention and reuse. basically the state and city and county both recognize that we need to shift our paradigm on waste even more. So all we're asking in the resolution is maybe you guys should talk story together and not duplicate work. Is there anyone, the chair's recommendation is adoption. Is there a motion? It's been moved by Kara England and seconded by, I see Moon's, oh, Sheila Madera, Scott beat you, Uncle Moon. Okay, it's been seconded. Open for testimony from the public. Right, our community has had this conversation about waste management and Opala as resource for a while. So this is not new to everyone here, so I'm not surprised no one's coming up. Because everybody's like, it makes sense. We know. Okay, is there any further discussion? All we're doing is encouraging them to talk story with each other and use taxpayer dollars wisely by not duplicating work. Okay, hearing no further discussion, is there any objection to the resolution? Hearing no objection to the resolution, the chair calls it unanimous. Now let's move forward. Second resolution, community members have brought this issue forward. It's called Supporting Permanent and Dedicated Funding for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. As we know, there are many Hawaiian homeland communities in our neighborhood district, but also that the state of Hawaii has a public trust responsibility to Native Hawaiians because this is their land and we're using it and not paying them appropriately for lease rent. In short, this resolution is asking the state to, instead of allocating every 2 years for DHHL's budget, something very similar to what they've done for all of the transportation funds, which is to provide a dedicated source and leverage that dedicated source for generational planning. Because right now they can't plan beyond what they have available. So if they only got 600 million, that's all they got. But if they know they're getting a certain amount, say 40 million for in perpetuity, then they can leverage that resources given that they know what they're getting. So the resolution is just joining the chorus of other people saying that it's about time we just provide a dedicated source. We're not what it needs to be because last so it was about a portion of the conveyance tax, which didn't make it through, but it doesn't have to be that. We kind of don't care. We just want it to be something so that they know what to plan with for development of housing. Okay. Is there a motion to adopt? It's been moved by Dr. Bosler, second by Kara England. Anyone wishing to publicly testify? Seeing no one wishing to publicly testify, it's now closed. Any discussion by board members on asking for permanent dedicated funding? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye or raise your hands. Okay, I see. Okay, any objections, any noes, any abstentions? Hearing none, chair calls it unanimous. I saw hands raised or nods. Very good. Good job, gang. We're on a roll. Well, mostly it's because our board actually brings resolutions after the community has vetted these issues over months. So it's not new stuff. It's just codified into very clear policy positions. Next one is an interesting one. It's called Promoting Education Enforcement to Stop Illegal Reserving of Parking Stalls at Parks and on City Streets. So for those that haven't seen it, you might have seen cones popping up in the parks, especially during busy Sundays or Saturdays, or on your street, that's a city street, and reserving stalls. So technically, as we understand it, that's not permissible under the current law. You can be neighborly about it and but the thing is, if they really want the stall, you should give it. So the reason why we're doing this is apparently people don't realize in our community that that's actually illegal. You cannot do that because an incident blew up on the West Oahu. And it was in the news and we saw that people got, violent and hurt over it because mostly because people just didn't realize that they couldn't do it. Okay, maybe they did realize, but they wanted to reserve that stall for themselves. So all this is serving as a PSA and recommending to our police officers that when they see the cones out, to just remind our community members that if somebody asks them to move it, that they should and don't get into fisticuffs. Like that's what this resolution is about. It's just asking people to be neighborly and follow the rules that we have for state parks and city parks and city streets. Okay, is there a motion for the PSA? Okay, it's been moved by Kara England, seconded by Hale. Okay, very good. Is there any public testimony about this public service announcements that putting the cones is not legal? And if they ask you to remove it, that you should, as the neighborly thing? Okay. Seeing no one coming to testify, any discussion from the board? Hearing no discussion, any objections? Hearing no objections, chair calls it unanimous. Okay, to expedite things, the next two resolutions are about the same thing. It's about aquarium fishing. Not fishing in your aquarium, but fishing in our reefs for fish that will then go into aquariums, mostly off island or out of Hawaii. So the city has already passed these, so that's why we're at resolutions. And there's one resolution going to the Board of Land and Natural Resources, and then the other to the state legislature. So I'll take them up both. It's just who they're going to. It's already illegal for this to happen to a certain extent, but the Board of Land and Natural Resources and the department can issue specialty permits still, and they're contemplating doing that right now. So if you read our resolutions, we're talking about the fact that our reefs have been devastated because of all of the things. Our limu and our fishes have been depleted, and we're in the process of and having community conversations about restoring our reefs. So having people come and try to commercially engage and pick off fish while we're trying to bring back the limu and fish kind of doesn't make sense for the community here at this time. So that's why we're lending our voice, being like, at least for our area, might be for other areas, you guys have healthy reefs, but we don't. Right? We had board members, Sheila Maderas and Kara England, go out to the Reef Restore project. We have coral kuleana people coming in and trying to bring out things by Ko'olina and Honokai Hale because our reefs have been devastated. So this resolution is just asking DLNR and the state legislature to make it so that they can't do it, put a moratorium on that right now. Okay, anyone wishing to make a motion on both? Karen, second by Amy Bosler. Any discussion on both resolution, one to BLNR and one to the state? Okay, there was someone online? Yes, okay, we see someone online. Please identify yourself and speak. Yes, go right ahead.
Aloha, Chair, board members, thank you so much. You're a hard act to follow, Chair. You summed it up well. I'm in strong support of these resolutions. We've been active on this issue for many, many, many years, and it's long needed. As you mentioned, the resos have already passed, but this Friday is a big day because of the board considering reopening the trade. Apologize for the siren. Excuse me. Here we go. I just wanted to, if I may, I know you're running late, just really briefly share, Oahu's reefs are devastated and they have been for some time. Essentially, your district, which is considered Zone 12, according to the Division of Aquatic Resources, which is from about Kahi Point to Maili Point, was actually the second highest amount of collection occurred island wide. And if you all recall, Hurricane Iniki, just really destroyed our reefs back in 1996. So, prior to that, these commercial aquarium collectors would take upwards of 20 to 40,000 of our important reef animals for the aquarium pet trade every year. Well, since Iniki, that number went down to 14,000, not because they self-regulated, because they chose to take less, but because these reefs were so devastated. So as has been discussed earlier, climate change, all the stressors that our reef is facing, this is absolutely the time to show your support for this important measure. There's a lot of data. I'd be happy to share if anyone wants more information. Just to summarize, This does not impact recreational collection. This does not impact the issuance of special activity permits for public aquariums, for research, aquaculture. We support humane aquaculture, which basically says we do not need to take these wild animals from our reefs. They can be bred and raised in captivity without that. And this is just targeting the really destructive commercial aquarium pet trade. And 99+% of these animals don't even stay in Hawaii. So again, this is really in the best interest of our environment, obviously cultural concerns, and appreciate your support. And if you're able to submit a letter or some notification to the board, it would mean a lot. So mahalo. And I'm sorry, Inga Gibson with For the Fishes and Pono Advocacy. Mahalo.
Mahalo community member Inga Gibson for sharing up that dicey good data that is for Oahu wide. While we have a very good sense of what's happening here, because we've seen it with our eyes and how the reefs have been devastated and how we don't have limu mats that existed prior, like even 20 years ago, where you would go swimming and you'd be caught in the seaweed that no longer exists. So it's a issue that we address. So any other further public testimony? Hearing none, let's move to a discussion. Any discussion from fellow board members? Yeah. Right. This is all in line with what I've brought here, that the scientific researchers that want to bring and do aquaculture to actually introduce to our reefs. So like, yes, we've been having this conversation for a while. Okay, hearing no community members or board members wishing to discuss, let's go to the vote. Any objection? Seeing no objection, chair calls it unanimous on both. Great. Now let's go to action G. A board position on Honolulu Council Resolution 26165. And if you may recall, this is when one of the people that came to talk to us about the submarine transmission lines for internet connectivity, Barbers Point Park area. So our board has not taken a position when they came, and this is our opportunity, or the community has an opportunity to weigh in. If we want to continue with no position, that's what it is. The chair does not have a strong recommendation on this. They're doing their due diligence and basic amounts, but they weren't necessarily going beyond that. So this is the people that were working with our community members at Honokai Hale, Baikahe Point area, where they went above that because they went out and they did the site visits, they talked with our cultural practitioners. And that's the reason why our board chose to support that group, because how they approach. We're checking in to see if the community has any mana'o, to see if anybody heard from them since they came, because we have not. Okay, so is there anyone wishing to take a position? Okay, seeing none, chair calls that agenda item falls to the floor and we move forward. So our current position of no action stands. Next one is on board position bill 41, 2026 relating to transportation. This is a moot issue because it has passed out of city council and just recently actually passed by the mayor. So it's unanimous out of council. And this is really for our community's information regarding the collaboration between our West Oahu legislators, including Representative Kila in transportation, Councilmember Tupola, and others, that try to make sure that the e-bike situation was harmonized from the state to the city and county. So they were trying to make sure that the regulations made sense downwards, because the people on e-bikes and all of us, we don't care about which government is coming from, right? We just want to know that the rules make sense. And they made the rules make sense, and the recommendation was to support, but now it's a moot issue. So unless someone wishes to take a ex post facto like a position, the recommendation on for sake of time. Okay, let's move forward. Next one, board position on resolution 26158, city energy vulnerability assessment. The chair's recommendation is that we support this. This is really just calling on the city to do an assessment given all of the things. Hurricane Lala, climate change, what is our energy plan? What are we doing? So like all we're doing is saying, yes, we think it's a good idea that we should figure out how we're using energy now and what we're doing to pivot given recent happenings. There's no resolution. It's just basically supporting the initiative. And so far, every council member that has voted on this in the early readings have supported. Is there any discussion from, is there a motion to support the intent of resolution 26158 by board member Kara England, seconded by Dr. Amy Bosler? Anyone wishing to publicly testify that we should do an energy assessment? Hearing none, okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any opposed and object? Hearing none, chair calls it unanimous. Very good. The next one is one a bit more near and dear to us because of its having to do with community resiliency hubs. Resolution 26161, minimum standards for all resiliency hubs constructed or retrofitting. It's requesting the city administration to develop minimum standards for all resiliency hubs constructed or retrofitted using the funds appropriated in the fiscal year. So the resolution is calling them to set certain standards. And what I'm asking the board to consider is that we support this resolution and provide the information that our community has already done on community resiliency hubs, because we have been an early adopter and advocate of engaging and creating that within our district, because as Dr. Keone Dudley and one of our elder members on the Environmental Justice Committee, Svea Brechtenberg, would say is that there is no place for us to evacuate to after a Category 2 storm, like and above. There's zero place in our entire district. So it would be super helpful to have a place that we can not just evacuate to, but also to be able to engage with resiliency and sustainable efforts when it's pre-disaster and post-disaster. So really, again, great idea. And all is that we're asking the board to authorize me to submit the things that we've already compiled on Community Resiliency Hub from our permitted interaction group and in support of resolution 26161. Is there a motion to Dr. Amy Bosler, seconded by Kara England? Any public testimony? Right. Hearing none. Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. Yeah, this also includes, for example, what we found out about the fact that University of West Oahu has a disaster plan and engagement, but then it's not integrated with everybody else, and they don't really actually know how to actualize it, but they have the plan. So there's things that we've learned, right? Like over the last few years about community resiliency hubs, and that's a great idea. And also, for example, HARC, the Agricultural Research Center in Kunia, which is one of the advocates that they took a proactive position to become a community resiliency hub and to actually share and make sure that our partners that want to do that meet the minimum standards, right? Like so that we don't disqualify them because somebody puts a guide point that prohibit a community resilience hub with too much modification. Okay. Hearing no discussion from the board, all those in favor, say aye. See Uncle nodding his hand again. Any opposed? Aole. Any abstentions? Kanalua. Hearing none. Again. Very good. Now we're almost done. There is one last major action that we need to do. It is regarding the Amazon's application 2026 2CM2 that is being heard by the Planning Commission on September 2nd. Now, the board's current position is to conditionally support pending the findings and results of the permitted interaction group that we established to allow for fact-finding engagement with the community and vetting with Amazon as a partner, which they agreed. The problem is that the permitted interaction group has not finished this work. They've asked us to accelerate it. Amazon, the partner we will finish our work by the end of September, but it is not in time for the September 2nd meeting. So what the chair is asking is that we put on the board clarification on our position so that I am making sure that we honor what the board said before and make sure that we're honoring their efforts, but also recognize that we are recommending that the Planning Commission postpone their decision-making or postpone the hearing or rehear this after the findings have been completed as was agreed upon publicly by Amazon. So like, so that would be what was be added to the agenda item. It affects the board's position because the chair wants to make sure that we're all on the same page about what's happening. Okay. So is there a motion to add to the agenda regarding Amazon's AP 2026 ZLN to conditional support position of the board for their application before the Planning Commission? It's been moved by Carolyn, seconded by Dr. Amy Bosler. Is there any public testimony? Did you remember, right? We had the conversation, was like, yes, and we was like, two said, no, we don't want to conditionally support. The other said, we want to conditionally support because they were asking about the variance for the height. And then we're like, okay, but we're going to set up the permitted interaction group so we can get all of the information, right? So the short reply back from the interaction group is that we checked in with them. We had a meeting not too long ago, and they're still awaiting the questions and concerns that community members have brought up from the meeting and the PIG members and organizations has brought up. So Amazon has yet to provide us with an update on the questions and concerns. So the recommendation is that, again, the condition that they still have a month for them to provide us the information that we've requested or address the concerns, and we want to honor the process. So this is a process question. This is not about merits of the decisions because the report's going to come out. Okay, having said that, anyone wishing to publicly testify? Seeing no one wishing to publicly testify, any discussion from the board members? Okay, yeah. Go right ahead, Tiare Ta'ala.
I think we ought to hold the line and don't give Amazon any way to get out of their commitments because they will. So hold them to everything.
Okay.
That's my position. I don't conditionally support anything because I don't trust them anything. So that's my
Okay.
position.
So mahalo, member Tiare Ta'ala, she was one of the ones that vocalized not a support for conditional support, but in the conditional support, it did clarify pending their participation and the findings and recommendations of the PIG, which we have not finished. So the chair is, through this motion, we're clarifying that as of September 2nd, the board's position will be, we cannot support this because of the fact that they didn't finish the process. Requesting decision-making to be held or postponed or, and if you do make a decision today, our position is opposition because we cannot in good faith say on behalf of our community, which we got multiple different organizations agreed to try and give them a chance to hear them out and go through a process for them to be a good neighbor. And this is what we're all publicly seeing this happen, whether or not they want to engage as a good neighbor or not. Yeah. Okay. So any other discussion for board members? Go ahead.
I have to say that I am very, as a PIG member, I am very disappointed on how Amazon's been handling this situation. Last month, they had a representative who, if you were here, May 27th, they gave the exact same presentation. And we were thinking that they were going to answer some of our questions. And it was just that. And then now, as of yesterday, no interactions from Amazon. We have a list of questions that we're really concerned about, and they're just not participating. And so this is the reason why we're taking this stance.
Mahalo. So just to clarify, the Project Savoy Amazon folder is online. The questions and concerns is publicly available. The communication to them is that if they do not respond to us as a PIG for the report, we have no choice but to actually use publicly accessible documentations in our community requests. And we have research papers, governmental documents, news articles. So we're trying to be a good neighbor and allow them the ability to address our concerns and questions, and also take into the other things in context. But if they fail to provide the information, we can only take the experiences from other communities and what government reports exist and think tanks and non-governmental entities have said about fulfillment centers and warehouses. So we're trying to be neighborly and we're sticking to the process. This is only about process, giving them the chance to participate. Okay, any other discussion from community members? Okay. Seeing none, is there? Yeah, I was gonna vote. Yes, seeing none, are there any objections to authorizing the chair to be able to clarify the position of the board, even though we stipulated it was conditional support? The conditions have not been met, so therefore we're asking for the decision making for the planning commission to be postponed to after the findings are released from the permitted interaction group, or the hearing to be rescheduled. And if they will make the decision that the position of the board will be in opposition. Okay. Hearing no objections, the chair calls it unanimous. Okay. Okay, everybody on the same page? We all understand what it's doing, right? They came, they asked us for engagement. We shared, open arms, let's figure this out. Let's try and trust them. We set up a permitted interaction group. 12 different organizations agreed to participate. We're all participating. And right now, our communication is a little challenging. But they might be busy, they might be concerned with other things, and we might be caught up in stuff. We'll extend grace for the rest of the month, and how they respond will be telling. Yes, go right ahead.
Especially being that you mentioned the news, I'm sorry. I'm just wondering, especially being that you mentioned what the mayor said on the news, like if they're ignoring and not being forthcoming, has somebody already, override what you're doing? And we're just not in the loop that they already got the okay and don't care what we think? I mean, I'm just asking.
So, like our community members, I think that the trust level for elected officials and certain bureaucrats is very person specific, depending on their actions. And our community, again, has been the butt end of a lot of things, especially when it comes to waste management, energy production, and a lot of these newfangled solutions that they want to bring in. For example, did you know that JERA made a news press release about their partnership with Amazon regarding their energy production, right? And engagement with their systems. And who was here a couple of months ago? JERA. And Amazon was there before. So I think it's good that our community be maka'ala, that we be aware of what's going on, and that we continue to do what we're supposed to do, which is check and see whether or not these community members and future neighbors are going to be neighborly, and help them to be neighborly and encourage them to be neighborly. And if they don't want to be neighborly, then they'll get the consequences. Because this board doesn't have control over the community. All we do is we serve as a forum so that everybody can get the best information and knowledge so that we can treat each other fairly as we move forward, and making this the best place to live for us and the next generation. Okay, and with that, next meeting is September 23rd, 7 p.m. here at Kapolei Hale and online via WebEx. And with no further business, we leave on a happy note that Kapolei City Lights is going to be during Thanksgiving, and everyone is called to participate. Yes. Okay, one announcement on outreach.
One announcement, if anyone is free this Saturday morning from 8 to 10 or even 8 to 9, City and County is having a cleanup in Waipahu. I know it's not our board, our area, but there are neighbors. So if you're free, come out, help us clean. We will have board members there doing good deeds, getting dirty. Thank you.
Okay. And with that announcement of community service and civic engagement, we call this meeting adjourned. You guys have a wonderful evening and mahalo nui loa.